Hello, hello, welcome back to the beginning. That's right, I did it. I warned you I might, and I did it. I technically have not deleted my other character, he's still around. However, the point of this LP, in general, has been, as I stated, to try to learn this game on the fly. Because whenever I started the Dark Souls LP, as I mentioned before, I already had beaten the game several times and knew a great deal about it, but I was learning the lore as I was attempting to explain it. But I had the context of having beaten the game and everything that entails. I still don't have that with Elden Ring. But you could probably tell my prior part, I was not having fun doing the LP at that point because there were so many things to go over, and it was becoming incredibly disjointed. And a lot of that also was because I was not really sure how to go about doing the LP in the first place. So, the LP until this point has been me doing what I usually do with all the Dark Souls games, or the FromSoft games, and that is playing through it, getting to a sort of midpoint, realizing that something went wrong, going back, doing it over, and just doing that like 3 or 4 times before I get to the point where I'm actually comfortable with understanding how the game works. And this game, more than any of the others so far, has had that issue in spades. As I'm sure that a lot of people are aware of by now. A lot of you have already beaten the game. I haven't. In fact, the point that I got to, that I wanted to show off, like this is Limgrave, the starting area. The part way over up there that I got to in the previous part, where I used the 2 medallions, this is as far as I've gotten. Even though I mapped out that entire area, and you could see the entire area had been mapped out, I don't actually know anything about most of those areas. I know the most about Limgrave, it's strangely a lot about Caelid, and whatever the lower area is, whatever the area to the south is, I can't quite remember. And the lakes I sort of vaguely have been mudding about in, and that's it. Like, that's all I really know. I've run over to locations and picked up an item that I was told was there just because I liked the look of it in a picture that I saw, and that's it. But even doing that apparently screws up NPC questlines and things of that nature. So to that end, I think I've sort of come across a formula for how I'm going to be doing this LP. Lord Soren's Greatsword. So, the format is going to be as such. It is going to be what it normally is. Extremely slow and methodical. So, on this character, now that I have shown you exactly how I will probably be playing the game on most of my characters, which is quickly getting to where I can farm runes, mapping out things as much as I possibly can, and then after that going back and then filling things out. With this guy, it's just going to be painful. Like, it's just going to be grueling and agonizing. Which is will be fun. We've lots of fun. Okay, so to that end, since I barely have anything on this guy since he just started, we've already looked at all these things. We've looked at the Crimson Tear Flask, Flask's Rolling Tears, Memory of Grace, Spectral Steed Whistle, all that good stuff. I spent what few runes that I had on the telescope because it's actually very important for this LP and in general. If you didn't know, also, if you're using Torrent, if you're riding on him and you need to do very precise platforming, and you find yourself, like, stumbling, like, falling off, if you zoom in with your telescope while you are riding on him, then it just points him in the direction that you need him to be, and he doesn't move or stumble at all. It's an extremely useful tool for that purpose. Okay, so I've not read this. Kukri. Large knife used for throwing. Its curved blade is sharp enough to slice flesh cleanly. Throw an enemies to inflict damage and build an onset of blood loss. This heavy throwing weapon is unsuitable for swift attacks. Oh wait, I have read this. Never mind. And of course, ruin fragments I said were very interesting because they said that the shards of stone are believed to have once been part of a temple in the sky. In the prior part, I also mentioned I found an item description of something that said that the stone used in the most ancient of dragons was now used as a weapon of gravel. Like, it's made out of gravel. It was grease, that's what it was. In order to inflict damage on their lesser kin. So whether or not stone from the sky of these ancient ruins has anything to do with that, I don't know, but it's stone, so it's there. Astrology tool. So the telescope is actually a tool that was used for looking into the sky. An astrology tool used by members of the Carian royal family, I don't know who that is. A stolen part of a larger instrument, so a little bit unusual. It doesn't look like it would attach to anything cleanly. But considering that you can only use it as a telescope, it would stand the reason that it functions like really old microscopes, and also old telescopes in general, where they would have multiple lenses that would all be affixed in a row so that they would all be amplifying one another, because that's all they had to work with as far as technology goes. So maybe there used to be something that would screw onto the front of this telescope, because it doesn't look like it's large enough to be the most, the most foremost to the design of whatever it came off of. It allows the viewer to better see faraway things. During the age of the Erd Tree, which apparently is over, Carian astrology withered on the vine. It makes it sound as though these Carian people, the Carian royal family, used to be scientists or something, and then the age of the Erd Tree began, and as a result, science fell out of favor, although I might be reading too much into that, but from the wording of that sentence, that's sort of what it sounds like. The fate once writ in the night skies had been fettered by the Golden Order. Alright, the fate once writ in the night skies. So maybe something in the sky, in space, or something, is associated with studying the fates. And the Golden Order, which is something that is created by the Elden Ring itself, and I'm still not clear what exactly the Golden Order is something that might conflict with that in some way, or might be trying to dispose it. Golden Rune, these doesn't really have anything, because Protagon can be found. And we've already read all of these, I believe. I wanted to point out, whenever you very first start the game, I was thinking about this the other day. The first thing that they give you, I think, is this. Yes. Tarnished Wizened Finger. So your ability to communicate with other people is the first thing that you get. And the other first things that you get are all multiplayer, like summoning things, tools. I mention that because they make it very, very clear in Elden Ring. They want you... Elden Ring is very dissimilar from Souls games in some ways. In the Souls games, you could just pick one thing and then roll with it. You would make a quality build, you would make a strength build, you would make a dexterity build. And that's it. Like, you're done. In Elden Ring, it feels almost as though there are two general builds. 3, technically. And that is intelligence or faith. Because what starting class that you pick does not matter beyond that. Because every single build seems like it is expected to have magic of some sort as an option. Whether or not you have 30 faith, whether or not you have 70 faith, it doesn't matter. From what I'm being told, it seems like you're expected to have that. That could be incorrect, but again, this is very early for me. I have not gotten very far, so I don't know. I don't know the context. In all honesty, most of you guys in the comments section will know more about this game than I do. And especially if you're watching this back years from now, I just will not know many of these things, so don't get too irritated with me. Like, be patient, but I'm just operating on what flimsy knowledge that I'm allowed to have based on my inability to actually complete the game because I'm doing an LP of it. Ashen remains more experienced strong, uses 73 spins along wolves. I also discovered that if you get too many waypoints unlocked, and then you go to the round table, Rennie, I can't remember what her name is. Actually, hold on. Bet I can find out real fast. No, this is Calais. Can you please... I'm trying to use the interactive map... Rena, that's what her name is. The interactive map is useful, but it also really fixates on one thing over the other, because everything is packed together into little piles, so it makes it almost impossible to interact with anything. But Rena, she will just not appear at the church at all if you go to the round table before you meet her. Also, she'll not appear at all if you go too far. Also, many NPCs will just not appear in places if you go too far. I had Patches in the last part, and he just vanished. Because at some point I got a little bit too close to the northern portion of the plateau, and as a result, that for some reason was a trigger for him to go up there and do his whole interact with the rainbow stones thing, which I haven't done. But I just know that's apparently a thing. And because that needs to happen, he just skips like 3 or 4 steps. This game is absolutely rife with that stuff. Smeltering by it's so satisfying to see like 4 or 5 things in here. Because I wonder if you put things in your store box, if it still uses them if you're crafting. I sincerely doubt it. Which is the reason why I just carry everything around with me. It would be so nice if it did. You can also, someone mentioned, yeah, you can sort by the order of acquisition, which is nice. So I'll probably have to use that quite a lot. Otherwise, I'll get very lost. Yes, especially throwing pots. Okay. I think I've gone over everything. I haven't actually gone over the maps. Map of the Western Ground, the Demesne? I've never seen that word before. Of Limgrave, far south of the Erd Tree, is bordered to the northwest by cliffs of Stormvale, and under its ever-clouded skies roll the great steppes of the Pale Lands. Alright, doesn't really tell me much. And Lordstorm's greatsword. Though blackened and damaged by years of use, it appears to have otherwise been kept in serviceable condition, despite the soldiers having long since lost their minds. So, they are sort of mindless. Later on in Stormvale, we'll meet an NPC that says that the soldiers simply chose the wrong master, which made me think that maybe they were saying they were just hostile towards you, but yeah, I guess most of the enemies that you run across have lost their minds for whatever reason. I still don't understand why, since there's no hollowing or anything like that in this game, but I guess we'll find out, maybe. Okay, nothing there. Rice bread, metal shields, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, alright, yeah. Okay, so in this particular method of playing the game, I will be trying to clear up things as fast as I can. I will not be lingering in areas too much. We'll see how that works out. But this should be a little bit more satisfying for you guys, because you won't have this big map where I am saying, well, this part doesn't matter, this part doesn't matter, let me rush over here, let me teleport over to this other side of the planet. Which was just as... it's actually more irritating for me, because it makes it really hard to focus or understand what the hell it is that I'm doing. Especially when I don't have the context of having beaten the game several times over, and I just have a perfect knowledge of how all this stuff works. So, Flail. This character, another reason why I'm starting over is because I know you can respec your character, but the other character, I had started out by saying I was told that being able to have middling stats was viable now. That is such a complete lie, it is laughable. In Elden Ring, you absolutely, probably more than any of the other games, you absolutely need to min-max the fuck out of your character. I was playing through... hold on. I don't know why I have Zelda music stuck in my head. Like from Wind Waker, I think. It's the Beetle music, yeah, it's the Beetle music from Wind Waker when you're buying stuff from him. Thank you! Okay, so here's Freelid, over here. I was playing Freelid, because I needed to start a new character, and it's like, I'm going to try a strength build. So, hold on real fast. I'll go into her for a moment. I'm right in front of boss fog. It's not going to be a spoiler or anything. Okay. So here I am in Stormvale. I'll look at the wall so nothing bad will happen. Get out of here, Summon Sign. But yeah, this is Freelid. She's using Big Greatsword, which I actually took a liking to. But her stats are more like this. She has a little bit of vigor. I've been pumping that. But very low mind. Middling endurance. Dexterity is as low as I possibly could get it for the weapons that I was going to use. And intelligence, faith, and arcane are left completely alone. That has been exceedingly useful because having my strength pumped up made the game way more tolerable, especially being able to use something that would actually stagger enemies. Now that said, I have also been told that strength is kind of terrible in Elden Ring, because later on into the game, you get to the point where it can't do anything to anyone. Because you encounter so many... It's sort of like Dark Souls 1. You start encountering so many enemies, especially bosses, that are apparently very fast and leave very little room for you to actually hit them. And the time between your swings is such that you just will always take damage in the process of doing that, supposedly. So on this character, I'm still not sure. But what I'm going to do, because early on, since I'm going to be just wandering around one area, which I hate doing this, by the way. Like, this is an anathema to me. But I'm just going to be clearing out the first area. Then after that, after we have completed that, we'll go into, I guess, the lower area down here. And then once we've completed that, I will move up. And I guess we'll either do Stormvale, which I really don't want to unless I'm high enough level for it, which I probably won't be. Or I'll go a little bit into the lakes. Probably not that, though. It's going to, I will promise you, it's going to be super irritating for me. Like, I'm actually kind of dreading this because of how Elden Ring actually works. But first, Flail. A flail is a weapon consisting of a bulging head attached to a handle by a chain. The iron ball spiked and induces blood loss. I might end up using this weapon primarily until I get the one that you get down south, the Rider Flail. Blocks from this weapon cannot be parried. The charge attack whirls iron ball around for increased force before striking. But I can't use it right now. So that is complete. Let's move down here. I've been very irate with the way that Elden Ring works, because it's sort of at odds with itself. It's an open game, so you can just run around at your leisure and do what I was doing up until now. But as you've seen, it also complicates quest lines and can screw up a lot of things. But that is how the game is actually physically designed. Storm Stomp and a Whetstone knife. Before I forget. Whetstone knife. Whetstone with a cipher inscription made to look like a small knife blade. Why exactly it was... A whetstone is the thing that you rake a knife across in order to sharpen it. We have to use those amongst farm activities from time to time. Allows the use of Ashes of War at a site of grace to bestow new battle arts and affinities to armaments' skills. So it took me... On Freelid, I was actually wandering around getting ashes, and then realized, how come I can't use these things? And it took me a while to figure out, oh, the whetstone is the thing that I don't have. I completely forgot about it, because I'd never picked it up. Like, if you miss something like that, because the game tries its best to guide you to this area first. That's one of the reasons why you learn to level up here and so on. The map is here, etc. and so forth. But there's nothing that directs you to it, so if you miss it, you just miss it. which is unfortunate because it's incredibly vital. The Battle Arts Infinities will depend on the actions that were used. Yep. And Storm Stomp. Getting Storm Stomp this early is kind of strange because you don't actually see enemies use it till you get to around the Stormvale area. I think there might be like one or two other enemies in the general sort of vicinity that might use it. It's a quality affinity. Storm Stomp, one of the skills that channel the Tempests of Stormvale. So it's channeling something. It's channeling the Tempests of Stormvale somehow. Stomp hard to the ground and kick up a momentary storm. Alright, that is done. Let's move on. Hello there, Butch. What are you doing in here? If you're looking for food, you won't find it. Okay, so now that we have accomplished that, I guess I will move down this direction. And I made sure to kill all these enemies beforehand because I knew that would take a while. And then we'll get this side of Grace. Then we'll just move on like that. But Elden Ring is sort of annoying in that way. They allow you to go anywhere and do anything. But at the same time, they also seem to really expect you to just hang out in the first area for as long as possible, which makes no real sense to me. Now, what is this? Be wary of research. That means nothing to me. These these like sword monument things that have inscriptions on them do appear across the map. Godric the Golden, humiliated. Having tasted defeat by the blade of Miquella, now on his knees begging for mercy. So, Butch, you still down there? What's going on, buddy? I don't have your bed in here. I'd have to go get it. I don't have time to do that right now, buddy. Having tasted defeat by the blade of Miquella. So, at some point, someone named Miquella defeated Godric, but did not kill Godric. And I can't quite remember. I think Godric may have been the first to fall in the opening cutscene. I might be wrong about that, though. But this apparently is an erected testament to his failure. But it also appears to be somewhat old. Because this monument does appear to be a little bit weathered. Or it was just made this way, I don't know. So, if the Elden Ring was shattered, it must have been quite some time ago. Like, it wasn't yesterday. You get the impression that it was at least like 100, 200 years ago. Well, it could be 1,000,000 years ago. I have no idea. But that's it. Another thing you need to do is pick up the little NPC balk around here. If I can remember what he looks like. I don't want to get involved in those guys just yet. There's a lot of them in the area, though. Also, the frame rate has not been fixed at all, believe me. So, my general problem with Elden Ring has been as such. The weapons that I want to use are all typically locked behind some sort of wall. Like they're either inside of Stormvale, for example, or they're inside of some area that's way, way, way further north. Or they are from a boss, and you have to sort of transpose their soul into something. I'm trying to remember exactly where he was. Believe it or not, in my prior part, I actually set my character right in front of this NPC. And I was going to start from there. But that's when I also made the decision to just start over, like this. Also, the amount of runes that you make in this game is incredibly small for most of the game. And I was told that it gets better, but from what I've experienced, it really does not.
Oi! You there?
There he is, yeah.
Could you help us out, Cully?
Don't call me Cully. Sounds like a dirty word. So if you just keep wandering around, I'm not going to attack him.
Yeah, you there? Stop pretending you can't see me.
It's so strange to me that they chose to go this route. Get out of here.
Why won't anyone look me in the eye?
There we go. Just wanted to get all those
I'm
dialogue.
not that ugly, am I?
If you roll into him, it negates
What'd
the
you
need
go
to
do
attack
that
him.
for?
I didn't actually attack him. Meeting this guy does prove that the... what are they called? Demi-humans are not completely like mindless monster things. Even though they 100% act just like that.
Oh, yes. I remember. Some clod turned me into a tree. You were just breaking the spell, weren't you? Thank you.
Where do
My
I get
name's
that spell?
Bog. I was pushed out of the cave. Told not to come back. Not ever. Then I ended up as a tree. Lucky you came along, really.
Okay. Do I have that set? Yes, I do. Take a good look at little Bok here. He's like a weird rat or something, and he is not wearing any clothing. And the hair doesn't leave too much to the imagination. Pretty raggedy looking. Kind of looks kind of mangy. Really, I mean, it almost looks like he's wearing pants because of the way that his fur kind of just ends. It's really gross. Sorry, Bok, but that's pretty... You have to admit, buddy, you're kind of nasty. And if you're going to wear like a hat and a little frock or a shawl, whatever it is that you're wearing, then, you know, maybe pants might be a good option.
Oh, what a shame. When they threw me out of the cave, they took everything I owned. And so this is all I have to express my thanks. I hope you can forgive me.
He actually looks a little bit better whenever his eyes open. He almost looks like a little monkey. I think he's he's really pogging out, though. I think he's supposed to be more similar to like a rat or something. But he really does look a little bit more ape-like. I guess it's just supposed to be generic. He's not supposed to look like anything in particular. He's just supposed to be sort of beast-like.
Or, well, if you can afford to wait for a while, I could sneak back into the cave and bring back something of actual value. Well, then I'd be of some real use to you, I reckon.
Okay. Then he goes back to pogging down at the ground. Good for him.
Right, but I'll need a moment. I'm frightened of them, so I have to gather myself. My knees start knocking, just thinking about that god-awful cave on the shore.
So the god-awful cave on the shore. That's supposed to be your tip-off for where exactly you need to go.
Right.
And that should be it. Yep, god-awful cave on the shore. Alright. That part is complete. And by the way, if you complete the cave before coming back here, the same thing happens. It doesn't actually matter. As long as you have the needle that you get from that area, then you're good. That's pretty much it. Alright. So, where do I go next? But yeah, the ruining coming in Elden Ring is kind of terrible. If you just do nothing except for hang out in this first area, it takes absolutely forever to level up or do anything. Which is unfortunate because you really do need a lot of levels just to be able to get started doing any kind of build at all in any of the games, really. But especially in Elden Ring. Are you chasing me? Why did you do that? Every so often one of the little goat things will chase you as though it's trying to, get rid of you. Which is very accurate for... Whoop! Well, it's the first time I've ever been hit by one of those. Which is very accurate for that kind of animal. We've raised sheep before, of course. We don't have them anymore, thankfully, since the farm is basically disbanded. So I'll still talk as though I'm on the farm when I'm not. But they are very stubborn, stupid creatures. Whenever this is a wild tangent, but whenever the Bible describes people as being sheep, like Jesus guiding the sheep, the flock, and so on, I always thought that's a good metaphor because human beings act exactly like sheep because we're extremely willful, very stubborn, very foolish. We move in big packs. When the leader makes a mistake, we all make the same mistake. You know, stuff like that. Full War Bloom, we just picked this up. Yellow flower that grows in lightning-struck lands. Material used for crafting items. Imbued with traces of lightning's essence. So something about the lightning striking... I don't know why the lightning is striking that one particular area. But something about it is imbuing the essence of it on the ground. Which is something we've seen before. The idea that the essence of things in this area... Is he going to be angry and chase us? Yeah, he is. The essence of things in this world seem to carry over to the things that they touch. Haha, you jumped down. Hey, you can't follow me. Okay. So one of the first things I'm going to do is run over to this catacomb over here. I'll show a catacomb. I'll actually do a catacomb. And we'll complete that because I actually want the talisman that drops in there, because the ability to heal off of viscerals, whatever you call them in this game, is very nice. At least for the first early bit, since you won't have too many resources to heal with. Also, the boss in that area gives you Death Root, which means that we won't have to do the Big Bodhi Man. Get off. Alright, let's talk to Mr. Ghostman. Unthinkable. Our Halad's resting place is violated. I think I may have read this. To refuse the Erdtree's call to return to live within death, sickening. Yes, because we mentioned before that there is a distinction between how people deal with dying in this universe. Some people... A lot of people just return instantly. Like, return to the Erdtree. Some people do what we're doing down here, where they become, like, skeletal or undead in some capacity. And that's just how they exist from that point forward. They're living in death, and that is something that some people revile for whatever the reasons. Okay. Whereas others... Oh, just kinda... Alright. Whereas, others will become ghosts. And after they become ghosts, they... In some cases, the ghosts seem to say that they're waiting for the Erdtree to call them back. It's as though they want to go back to the Erdtree, but they're not being allowed to for whatever reason. Whereas others, it almost seems implied that they are... Like, Come on. I'm trying to break his poise, but I guess without the R2 it really just doesn't. They really want you to use jump attacks in this game. But some ghosts will seemingly just be trapped in that state, and they can't really do anything about it. Notice that from these guys, after I kill this guy, we'll see how many runes he drops. 62. So, 62 in one of the other games would not be bad. But there's a lot that goes into the math of these games. It's something that I feel like people don't really appreciate, how difficult it is to get that to be precise. And it's especially difficult in open world games. Nice. Because you have to account for people being able to go anywhere and do anything. Which obviously they didn't get perfectly right, considering that I was able to level up to 60-something just by going a little bit over to the west. Come over here, sweetie. Alright, sweetness. God damn, that slowdown. Actually, The screen froze for me. I don't know what it looked like on your guys' end. But the screen froze for me just then for like a good 3-4 seconds. Scimitar. Scripture Warden Shield. Oh, he dropped this quite a bit. Okay. Like, you can actually go through an entire catacomb in an area that you're designed to be in, and at the level that you're designed to be fighting at. And by the time that you clear out all the enemies and defeat the boss, then in many cases you still actually will not have enough souls or runes to be able to level up at all. And you can actually go through, in some cases, like 2 or 3 of them before you even get a single level. I'm trying to clear out a few of these guys. Come on, don't freeze on me. Something about, like, Elden Ring already has lots of problems with frame rate. Bastard, I hate that move. Ever since Dark Souls 1. Because they could do it whenever they want to. I was thinking about this yesterday. Every enemy in these games, especially Elden Ring, has what I refer to in my head as a bitch move. Not to be too crass. But the bitch move is always a move that is like blatantly unfair in some way. And comes out very quickly that you really just can't do anything about. And they can just choose to do it whenever they want to. Like rats have this little headbutt move that they can do. So you can actually be in the middle of a combo. Like you catch them out, they do an attack, they completely miss. You start doing your combo because, hey, you caught them out and now they'll pay the price, right? No. If they want to, they can just do this little headbutt to you. It comes out in like a few frames. It will hit you because you're standing in front of them doing your attack. And tough shit. Just, you know, if they choose to make you take damage, you're going to take damage. And those skeletons, these skeletons here are not quite as bad. Well, they're still not particularly amazing, but, you know, they're not... Their bitch move is not as overt as many other... God, this game. As many others. But theirs is that little quick swipe that they do where they jump backwards. That is the skeleton bitch move. And they can just use that just whenever they feel like it. They also, when they're in the middle of a combo, can just choose to use that if they want to. So if you take damage, you take damage. What did you do wrong? Nothing. The skeleton just chose to use that, and you're going to have to deal with it. And lots of enemies are like that. Lots of enemies have their own patented little bitch move. Where they're getting beaten, they completely failed, but fuck you, I'm going to do it anyways. It's their I win button. Well, it's not even really an I win, they're not winning the fight or anything. But it's their, I'm going to make you take damage and you're not going to do anything about it move. Their uncool move. Alright. Wow, that slowdown. Why is it so bad today? Maybe I need to actually clear out, like, all my browser and shit. Probably need to memorize the amount of memory that I'm using. Oh, wait, is it even up? Oh, it's not even up here. I was waiting for a skeleton to spawn there because I'm so used to doing it. But no reason to do that. I'm not going to jump down the middle. Another reason why I didn't want to show off things like this is because of how slow and methodically I like to play games. Let's see. Even these, he almost got it out. Even these little bow guys. You can see him trying to do it. Even the bow guys have their own little bitch move. And theirs is a little short dagger that they have with them. And they can pull that out, and it's longer attack frames than the rat move, even the scimitar move. But it comes out very quickly. Yep, see, there it is. Like, you have to hit them as fast as you can. Damn it. I know you guys get really irritated with me doing this, but especially early on, I try to save every last morsel of health that I can get away with. I know you guys get irritated with me sitting on next to no health. And believe me, I get irritated too, because the games are not designed that way. Look at that, he still managed to damage me. Even though he was getting comboed that entire time, the fact he like dodged to the side very slowly. Not slowly, he dodged to the side very slightly, and that was enough to cause me to take damage for some reason. Okay. Give me a second, I'm gonna try to close a few things. I'm gonna lose a lot of my ability to use any resources, but maybe that will free up enough things that the game will run a little bit better. The capture will run a little bit better. And pulling this lever, of course, makes things spawn behind you, because FromSoft. Yeah, these games are... These games, it really feels like to me... What are you doing, sir? It really feels like these games are designed so that your health is designed to take, usually 2 hits. Like, to me, it seems like that's what their ideal is. Especially during boss fights, that you should... If you get hit by a boss's attack, you should take 95% of your health and damage, or 90%. Because... in this game, it seems like you have the resources to be able to heal back absolutely outlandish amounts of health with one swig. Like, it's practically your entire health pool, no matter what it is. That probably changes as it gets higher and higher. But it is pretty silly. Okay, what do I have? Yes, okay. Did I ever do this? Yes, alright. Which is not a practice that I enjoy. The thing I've mentioned this many times before, the thing I liked about Dark Souls 1 in that respect was that it's more of a resource game. And in theory, it still is in this very early portion. But starting out with, 5 Estus Flask charges, getting through the Undead Burg, and to the Taurus Demon, with those 5 intact was pretty difficult, especially for a starting player. Like, for me, since I've played it so much, I could probably get through it without actually taking any damage at all, fairly simply. But that's like the challenge of those games, is getting through the areas as efficiently as possible. And it's more of a resource game. Whereas as the games have become more action-oriented and more about rolling and all that other nonsense, their solution to that has been, okay, well, here's infinite healing, we don't care anymore, but if you get hit 2 times in a row, you die. Which I don't like at all. Very, very unsatisfying to the Eli. Okay, why the Black Knife Assassin actually starts with reduced health, I don't know. I don't know if there's a lore reason, or if there's something inside the Catacombs themselves that I did, and I just don't remember. Bitch. Fighting this guy with a greatsword was a lot of fun. Especially after I learned that, crouching moves... I used to think that all crouching moves were just the run moves, and it is that way on a lot of weapons, but not all of them. Nice. And on the greatsword, this guy doesn't have a face. There's like a completely empty hood. Oh well. If you guys want to pause it, I guess you could say that. There There we go. Critical hits restore... Actually, hold on. Since I'm already here. An assassin's dagger, misshapen and stained in crimson. That is the shittiest looking dagger I think I've ever seen. Can you imagine actually trying to hold this thing? This charm is modeled... It's a charm, even though it's also described as a dagger. This charm is modeled after the darkly gleaming blades used in the Knight of Black Knives. There is a historical Knight of Long Knives, which is not a fun read. Those which gave the demigods their first taste of death. Their first taste of death. So either some of the demigods are dead now, or demigods can actually respawn in some way. Don't know. Don't know. Don't have the information for it yet. Which is one of the more see Deathroot, which is more of that's one of the disappointing things about doing this LP like this, is there's just no way for me to know. Like a lot of the stuff in the Dark Souls LP, as soon as I got it, I could give you enough context and go, remember that because it'll come up later. I don't know. Like that's one of the most frustrating things about doing the Elden Ring LP is that I just don't have the information to be able to parse out stuff like this for you guys. So I hope you're actually finding value. I hope you're actually finding value in this LP, and not just from, you know, if you want to just enjoy my voice and not pay any attention to what I'm saying, then that's fine too, I guess. As long as you're enjoying yourself. But the thing that I would like to pride myself on is being able to parse that information and be able to analyze things and break them down. So the Elden Ring game has been both like one of the best games and one of the worst games in many ways, as far as the Souls-type formula. Because of the... And it runs into a lot of the problems that open-world games run into. Where since everything is so huge, a lot of things just end up being very generic. Or they become very, very particular to an area, and it becomes almost impossible to find them unless you're using a wiki, which happens all the time in this game. There are too many things that you can miss out on without using a wiki or a guide in some way. And I'm trying my best not to miss anything, so this is the reason why I'm going to try to take it slow from now on. Which I'm not too happy about at all, because it's going to be light years before we're done with this. Deathroot, a source that gives rise to those who live in death. The beast clergyman, found at Bestial Sanctum in the distant east, collects and devours those roots. Alright? It is a source that gives rise to those who live in death. Okay, so it makes it sound as though if you want to survive dying and not be reincarnated, then you have to use Deathroot and, like, devour it yourself? Maybe? I don't know. I got the impression that Deathroot was something that came about from someone who had survived death and was undead. And, you know, it's just something that, like, grew out of them or something. But this seems to be the reverse. Like, they're using it somehow in order to accomplish this. On the night of the dire plot, the stolen Rune of Death enabled the first death of a demigod. Okay. So, what was the thing that we just read? No, it'd be over... It's so hard to find things. There it is. God. The menus in this game are just... There's so many things that it just becomes incredibly complicated. But, okay. During the Night of Black Knives, that's apparently whenever this all went down. And the demigods were first killed. Alright, so during the Night of Long Knives, which is the night of the dire plot, on the Night of Long Knives, the stolen Rune of Death enabled the first death of a demigod, alright? The Rune of Death later spread across the lands between through the underground roots of the Great Tree, sprouting the form of Deathroot. Okay. Alright, and as we've been over before, the Great Tree might be distinct from the Erd Tree. Otherwise, it wouldn't be capitalizing it, and in some cases, it sort of parses the two from one another. Like, in one case, it actually listed both of them in the same sentence. So they are two different things. So during the night of Naughty Knives, whatever the hell it's called, the Rune of Death, whatever that is, was stolen, and that was used in order to start killing demigods. And then for some reason, that Rune of Death, instead of consisting and continuing to be some sort of item, was spread across the lands between through the underground roots of the Great Tree. So maybe that was done intentionally. I don't know. But eventually the Rune of Death, began to sprout in the form of Deathroot. So maybe the consequence of just being down here in the Catacombs is what does this to you. Maybe it's something that was not intentional. Although, from the way that people describe it, it seems like it should be intentional. Either way, let's get out of here. Return to entrance? Yes. And I hope you know that once I get to the round table again, boy, am I going to mash through dialogue. Because I already covered the fuck out of that area. Alright, so that is complete. That is one step out of millions. Well, since we're in the area, let's just wander over here. There's a big bridge here, which obviously used to lead over here, that goes all the way to Stormvale Castle. But it has crumbled. You wouldn't think through disrepair, but maybe from disrepair, I don't know, maybe from attack. Into there's like there are 4 points of major damage. And I'll go ahead and give you a minor spoiler. It's not a spoiler, really, but if you stand right here, which there's like a teleporter that you take from here, and it leads you over like here, I think. But if you go all the way down here, if you look across, you can actually see, not here, but right here. There's a little hole. I was doing this earlier today. There's a hole, like a little cave or something, I think, that you could probably walk inside of. And it's completely black, so I don't know what's in there. But there doesn't seem to be a way of actually getting up there, because this is where it is. It's like right there. It would be right there where I'm looking. So, whether there's something down here or not, I sincerely doubt it. Oh, just past some demi-humans, and of course they're angry. Like, can you imagine? Like, they actually want you to, like, spend hours and hours and hours doing co-op and so on in, like, this first area before you move on. Which is, it's just ridiculous to me. Because you make so little progress. God, how many of you are there? Are there weird monkey men eggs hatching somewhere? Alright, get off. Horseback combat really is just absolutely awful. Until you get something like a halberd, especially, or a great sword, something long. Supposedly, really, that was a hit? Supposedly, flails also are like that. I should mention that. Get out of here. I was considering the idea of... I can do it on this character either way. Like, look at my status. Like, I have 14 strength, 13 dexterity. If I go with a strength build, then I would obviously still need 13 dex. Get out of here. Go on, get out. Then I would still have I would still need both of those. So I wouldn't need to restart either way. String. Glowstone string. Okay, let me try this thing. Order acquisition. That sort of helped. Glass shard first. Glass shard covered in dirt, sparkles in light, mistaken for an object. We've already read that. It's used to create the illusion that an object is there to be picked up. Although this is one of those items that just will stop working eventually after people have played the game enough. Glowstone. Polished rune fragment that shines brighter than a rainbow stone. Craftable. emits light from the location displaced, illuminating surroundings. That's nice. However, the effect is short-lived and it lacks the diverse colors of rainbow stones. May serve some benefit in dark places or at night. Considering that you can just wear a belt torch in this game, I really don't see the point of having this item. But it exists. I'm sure that there's some very particular point in time that you could use that in. But yeah, I was considering that I'm going to be going a faith build, I'm pretty sure. Because I really don't see... Because like I mentioned, you get to the point where, according to other players... Oh yeah, that guy comes alive, I forgot. You get to the point where it is no longer feasible to fight bosses with just a strength build or a dex build. And from what I gather, quality builds sound like perhaps the most miserable experience on the planet. If anyone has been using a pure quality build, like with no magic at all, and you've beaten the game or are nearly done with the game, please leave your comment in here below with no spoilers or anything, obviously. But just give me some sentiments about that. This is a Twitter thread that I started, but I asked the question, what are your build regrets? For people that are nearly done with the game or are done with the game, what do you regret the most about the way that you built your character and played your character? I got a lot of responses about that. Lance Talisman, by the way. Herba. I got a lot of responses about that, and some of them were very varied. Most of them revolved around people saying I should have dumped everything into one stat, but I also should have been leveling Vigor. A lot of people have told me that even though 40 is one soft cap, you really should have more than 40, because so many bosses at the end of the game will just one-shot kill you. Like with complete ease. Even at 40 Vigor, they'll kill you without any consideration at all. So eventually I would like to have somewhere in the range of like 50 Vigor. But also at the same time, if I'm going Faith, I'll need 50 Faith to be able to use any spell that I want to. If you go Intelligence, you actually need 70 to be able to use any spell that you want to, which is insane. People have already... I think the SL 150 meta is already kind of setting in. People were really adamant about it being 125 because it always has been. I don't think that's going to work. That's ridiculous. But as I showed you on Freeland, she has 31 strength. Because she's just a strength character, even though she hasn't been that far in the game yet. And whenever I was rolling around with Mr. Gripes, my precursor to this particular character... Let's see. Whoa, don't. Ooh, the game actually froze for a split second. The game has been running slightly better since I closed out everything else. Still not great, though. But on that character, I had like 20 in almost everything. I had 20 Vigor, 20 Mind, 20 Endurance, 20 Strength, and 20 Dexterity, and I may have had 20 Faith. I had 17 Arcane. Because, oh, it doesn't matter, fucking matter, just play the way you want to play, make it your experience, that stupid bullshit. That's a complete lie. Playing that character was kind of miserable, just because the damage was so awful. Like I showed you Caiaphas, Mr. Faithman. His stats are not particularly high, I guess. He's still like level 36, or like he's around 40, I think. But dealing damage on him also was very miserable. Because I had like a +4 Uchi on him. Because one of my problems with Dex is that you just don't find any Dex weapons. I'll go take care of Potman up here.
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Help me. I'm stuck. Hello? Hello? Anyone?
By the way... Oh, I didn't read that other thing. I didn't read Scimitar either. Hold on. Scimitar, a curved sword with a single-sided blade. Delivers slashing attacks with a sharp blade, but it's ineffective. It's ineffective.
Can you hear me?
I know. I can hear you. Delivers slashing attacks with sharp blades, but is ineffective against thick armor and hides covered in tough scales. Smaller in size. It carves enemies quick shortcuts. Okay. And there was one more thing that I just picked up. Oh yeah, the talisman. That's what it was.
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Help me.
Poor man.
I'm stuck.
Enhances attacks on horseback. Lance talisman. A talisman depicting a lance and a knight. Enhances attacks while on horseback. Knights on horseback are deadly foes, unless they are you. In that case, you kind of just suck. They see all below from their lofty position, meeting little meaningful resistance as they charge ahead.
Help me.
Not exactly true.
Hello? Hello?
Now, you can actually attack him before talking to him,
What are you playing at?
but I don't think it actually allows you to knock him out.
Hello?
So you have to talk to him, I think.
My stars. I'm so
After
happy to
me
see
beating the shit out of him for a
you.
while.
I am Alexander.
Saturn's on his iron fist.
The Iron Fist. And as you can see, I'm stuck here.
Mm-hmm.
Please, can you help me out of this?
And I do absolutely know about him showing up in the tunnels. What would have happened if I had talked to him after I opened it up? I don't know, because he was still there on my other character. On Caiaphas, I did it all the quote-unquote correct way, so yeah, I know.
Just give me a good smack from the rear with something nice and big. And I'll pop clean out, I'm sure. Don't dally. There's no need to fret. I'm very well trained. Give it your all, I say.
Okay, shut up. And the old problem of dialogue advancing if you rebind your advance button on a controller, even if you use the keyboard, for that matter, still remains at this point, which is incredibly annoying. Maybe they'll get that. I kind of get the impression they'll never fix it. But if you are selling just change your settings, no. No, I won't. This is exactly, like, this is what I want it to be, aside from the jump button being on the fucking left stick, which is still irritating. Nothing needs to be on that left stick. Nothing. Like, I don't want use item on there, I don't want crouch on there, I don't want backstep on there, I don't want the interact button on there. Actually, I did try the interact button on there once. It was kind of miserable. And that also was, I forget what it did, but it actually screwed up something else. I can't quite remember what it was. But it made it impossible to do one specific thing that I can't quite recall. Nothing needs to be on that stick. The actual problem is that this game has too many commands now. There's just too many things. You have a skill button, you have a guard button, you have a strong attack, you have a light attack. You can crouch, you can stand up, you can use an item, you can backstep, you can dodge roll, you can dash. You have an event action items where you can talk to people or move up and down ladders. Even that has historically been an issue, because whenever you like go to a ladder and there's a message there and you're like running from something, you can't climb up because the game prioritizes reading messages instead of actually interacting with items, and people do that intentionally to troll you. You can move the camera, you can change the target, you can lock on and remove the target. You can switch all your armaments around, you can change your spells on the fly, you can change your items on the fly, use the items as well. There's a map button now. There are too many things. That's the actual issue. There's just too many things now. And too many of them do things that will, like, kill an NPC that's standing in front of you. Like the little bot guy that we just talked to, the little rat man. If you hit him, even once, I haven't done this myself, but I was told this. I'm not going to do any testing for it. If you hit him, even once, he dies. There's no like, oh, what are you doing? No, he just dies, because he's that weak. And they actually allow that to happen. It's ridiculous.
Well played, good sir.
A nice
Well
ass beating.
Oh, that mighty wallop of yours almost spelled the end of me. Well, I'm out now, and that's what counts. I thank you. And
Right out of my
as a token
butthole.
of my appreciation, I'd like you to have this.
Old pots have hammer space. Cartoon hammer space. Enjoy. So there we go.
Once again,
Okay.
pleasure is mine. I am the warrior Jar known as Alexander. Iron Fist Alexander, in fact. I journey to the east, where I intend to further my education in the ways of war. And beyond these lands lie the scarlet, rot-blighted Caelid wilds.
But don't go there. It will invalidate my quest line, maybe.
Redmane Castle, in which a festival of combat is being held. I'd heard whispers of such festivities before. Doesn't the notion set your breast aflutter?
Now, strangely, if you go to that location, either there will be no enemies there, or there will be an outlandishly huge amount of enemies there. Yeah, there's like no in-between. It's very strange. Okay. Let's see what to do next. I gotta go down there. But you can see why I didn't really want to do the LP like this. It's just very, very slow in plotting. And actually getting everything unlocked is also going to mean not showing off everything as fast as I can. Wow, that was like 3 seconds of freeze again. Like, it does sort of freeze sometimes whenever I'm playing offline. That mainly just happens whenever I'm recording. Which maybe my computer is somehow not powerful enough, which is outlandish to me. These pumpkin heads, as they are called, love to pretend that they can't see you until they do. Or if I can... Nah, it wouldn't let me. Alright. Those are called pumpkin heads, because they have big helmets that look like pumpkin heads. I don't know if they are. At all. If we eventually get one of their drops, then I guess we will. Until then, we are screwed. And then we'll go across the bridge. I should go down there as well. That's another thing I need to do. Smithing stone, what's the lore of this? There actually is a little bit of lore of this. For some reason, even though this was plucked off of a corpse, but this did remind me. The little glowing... statues that have like a glowing center inside of them, or even the... There's not one near here, I guess. But even the statues that show you where a catacombs is and point a little, you know, bluish-green light to it, usually have smithing stones inside of them, but you can't actually get to the sweet inner nougaty goodness of the statues to retrieve them without the assistance of one of these giants, like the big rory giants that are up there somewhere. Those are the only things that I know of that can actually break them. Is it really that important? No. No, it's not. Because I don't know if the reward changes. He's using it! I caught him! See, it's that thing that I can't remember. The Urhu or something? Whatever the name of the actual instrument is. But again, what the actual mechanic of... Like, look at this. That looks like it's very clearly just rope that's hanging down. So there's no way that little stick down there is supporting it off the ground. So what exactly that is, I have no idea. Again, maybe worth looking into if you're curious about the exact mechanics of how the instrument would have worked historically. Pretty interesting. I appreciate that they went through the bother of including such a thing.
Yeah, I'm terribly sorry. Are you here as a customer?
You actually buying something? Are you crazy? I will buy this bandit mask. Fine. I'll read all the things first. No, flame chariots. I don't so buy nomadic merchants. I guess I'll have to buy these because they're lore related. This, oh my god, it's going to be so miserable. In the comment section, because going and tracking down these merchants after you found them the first time is miserable. So it seems like the best way to handle it is to just kill them, get their bearings, and then take them back. That way you can have access to their inventories whenever you want to. If there's a better way of doing that, that doesn't involve killing them, please let me know. And please let me know in the most generic spoiler-free way possible if there are any consequences to doing it that way. Because this is one of these weird design oversights where it is horrible that it works the way that it does. I appreciate that there are traveling merchants, and it's cute that they're there, but it is extremely inconvenient. Anyways, painted turtleneck. Turtleneck meat, pickled in it really gross looking too. Pickled in a bitter medicinal solution. Boosts stamina recovery. The nutrients churn through the body, practically boiling out endless power. Wow. Turtle's very strong. Crack pots. Yo, this pot is cracked, bro. This empty pot somehow mends itself when broken. Essential vessel for crafting cracked pot items. It's a pretty cool idea. I really don't use them as much as I thought I was going to. The materials and magic sealed within deploy their effects when the pot is thrown. Because most of the thing, like, this has always been an issue with items in Souls games. They're very limited most of the time, or they're expensive. So, the only time that you really use them is whenever you're like, I need to use an item. Which is more of a thing in this game than it is in games since probably Demons. Kind of irritating. Okay, but you require them a record of crafting techniques left by roaming nomad soldiers contains knowledge of surviving the face of utter scarcity. So all these should probably say more or less the same thing. But I'll need this. I actually will need this. I'll need this. Short sword. Straight sword, short blade, additional reliable standard damage. This weapon also boasts powerful piercing attacks, light wound, stone, blah, blah, blah. Nothing important. Halberd, we already have this. Nothing important there. Arrows, not important there. I will need a lot of arrows. God, I need so many... You need so many runes in this game. It's so irritating. You need so many. Because you not only need to level up an obscene amount. Like, by the end of Dark Souls 1, even though the SL meta was like 120, by the time you actually beat Dark Souls 1, usually you were like level 80. And by the time the DLC came out, then yeah, you may have gotten higher than that. Maybe you're like, maybe in the 90s, maybe 100s, depending on how you played. But yeah, that game was designed to be beaten at a very low SL. And the same is sort of true for 2 and 3 as well. Elden Ring, you need to have an obscene amount of runes. Because there are a nightmarishly huge amount of things that you must buy. Like this. Also, you need to level up. Also, you're probably going to be losing a lot of them in the process. And also, even like beating a boss in like the beginner areas, beating a boss sometimes will get you below 1,000 runes. It's laughable. Like, the rune economy in this game is absolutely terrible. I can't believe they handled it this way. I understand why, because, you know, it's a big open area.
I'm afraid I've very little to offer.
Sure do, buddy. But also, fuck. Have you considered that, Miyazaki? I understand that you're making an open world and that this is difficult to balance around, but have you considered, fuck?
Death has left its mark once again.
He says death has left its mark once again. He's like lamenting it, but this is like an ordinary dead person. But I guess he can somehow sense that this person was killed by a skeleton man. By the way, I was wondering...
I cannot give you your proper rights, but at least you did not join those who live in death.
But at least you're not a weird skeleton.
Will return to the Earth Tree in time. Honeyed rays of gold deliver this spirit.
Come on, he's still blinking. He's clearly blinking. Blink again. Do it. Blink. He's very clearly still alive. He's merely pretending. I still think about that meme sometimes. The head. Beheading that guy. He is merely pretending. I was wondering about the briars around this clearly dead man's neck. I discovered this item in another character. I can't remember what exactly it says, but it does say that they're briars they put around someone's neck as a minor penance for minor infractions of the law in some way. So this guy did something mildly naughty. He's not like a huge criminal. He doesn't deserve to have the... They're not fucking pillboxes. Why does my brain always try to say pillbox? Like a couple parts ago, I kept saying pillbox. Pillory. Gosh. They're almost the same thing, but my brain kept doing that because, as I mentioned before, I have a terrible memory. My brain loves doing crazy things. And I was like, alright, I'll just say it. Just people will understand what I meant anyways. But yes, pillory. He didn't deserve having a pillory, and I don't think the things you actually wear around are also called pillories either. But you guys get what I'm talking about.
Ah, a tarnished, are you? I'm known as D. I hunt down those who live in death, and we...
If you guys could have a single letter as your name, what would it be?
The village here has been touched by death. And worse yet, it is home to a mariner. If you value your life, then go no further.
Okay, so clearly we're going down there. Oh, hold on.
The village here, turn back.
Okay. Now, we just learned from the Death Roots that the Rune of Death, which was stolen from someone and used to kill demigods, is the reason why Deathroot is now growing, because it has somehow corrupted whatever the Great Tree is. And that has been spreading via its root system to all places throughout the land. And presumably that must be the reason why this village has been corrupted. Even though this village looks like it was corrupted about 800 years ago, considering how much in shambles this place actually is. Or it's just the result of some sort of war, and it just so happened to have been touched by death at around the same time or later. Don't know. I kind of get the impression that Miyazaki just told them, just design some generic runes, we'll just reuse those. Because they very clearly did just that. Now, there's lots of angry skeletons around here. We will try to avoid the angry skeleton. There is also Turtle over here. And I would like to retrieve Turtle. I will also attempt to fight Mariner, because I would like to be able to find something that describes what Mariner is. Hey, turtle dudes. How dare you kill these little turtle dudes? Look, he's even wary of me. He's looking at me but turning away. Like an old man that's wary of a teenager dressing in a way that he doesn't find proper. Alright. Alright, fuck you, statue. Here's your key. Oh, I don't have one. That's right. I'm so used to being able to carry around a huge plethora of them that I don't have access to one. Okay. Well, in that case, even though I'm carrying around 2,000 runes, I'll probably end up dropping all these. Well, I guess we're in a boss fight now. So, this fight, as I recall, involves this thing teleporting all around the place, spawning in a bunch of angry boys. Oh, it's not... Wait, where is it? I really don't need you killing my boys. I need them around. At the first time that I actually fought this thing, I did not know how the skeletons worked in this game, because I'm used to, you know, them requiring divine damage or something like that, which actually does exist in this game. Whoop, is he going to use it? Yeah, he's going to use it. There we go. Now, this guy isn't too hard, but it's more of one of these deals where the ads become more of an issue. And I don't know if you can actually get rid of all of them permanently, because it might just spawn more of them as far as I know. Then he fades away, and he gets back up again, he gets knocked down, he gets up again. Nobody ever gonna keep him down, or whatever that song says. There he is. And I really want to beat this guy in first try because LP. It'd be nice if he wasn't stuck directly in the corner of an area. Go ahead and use your little thing. As I tried to get around this area. Well, that was inappropriate. Ah. Well, I'm really have a very low amount of damage. Also, the incredible slowdowns that I'm getting are not helping either. Oh, come on. Okay, let's try to go find them again. It's gonna take a long time. Unless it just so happens that I can break his stance in some way, which I'm not sure if I can. God damn it. What are you doing now? He's going for a big ride. And that just completely wiped out my summons. Oh, that's just lovely. So this is actually a pretty good example of you really need levels in this game. I'm sure, like the old mentality, please don't freeze for 4 seconds. The old mentality of just get good, you shouldn't be leveling up, you should prove how big your E-penis is by, yeah, there's no way I'm gonna beat him like this. By just beating everything at SL1 and never leveling up, never taking any damage, doing it with an unupgraded weapon. You know, just that old elitist mentality that everyone always has in FromSoft games. Not really much of a thing in Elden Ring. You really need to level up in this game. Well, it's kind of ridiculous how important it is to level up. So I guess we'll come back to that whenever I'm higher level, because I don't have anything right now. I really need a better weapon. This is the primary reason why I always ran over there and did the boulder shit right away. Because playing Elden Ring without having enough levels to be able to have a quote-unquote real build and not having upgraded weapons and so on, it is miserable. Like, it is just absolutely miserable. Especially later on, whenever the enemies become that much more unforgiving in that regard, and you start taking debatably mandatory damage, it gets really bad. Much like the slowdown that I'm experiencing in this video game. I could use one more heal. I never have any real use for these guys. There we go. And as I have said before, God, I'm so not used to Flask not healing you all the way to full. As I've had said before, I'm going in the wrong direction. This is going to be going to Caelid. I should consider these ruins to be the outer portion of the area that I should be exploring. Let's do it that way. I'm actually a little bit paranoid of going too far over. Let's go down here. I don't think I've ever taken this path before. Oh, there's a bunch of coffins. Although they're all open, note. Like, these are... what are they called? Sepulchres? But note that they are all open. So maybe this is where they came from. Maybe it's not that there was a village and it got corrupted. Maybe there weren't people living in that area either way. But whenever the death roots spread over to this area, it somehow awakened these people that were already dead. But if that's the case, that would mean that their souls hadn't been reclaimed yet by the Erdtree, which means that they had been sitting inside of their graves for a very, very long time without the Erdtree doing anything with them. Although this guy's still locked up. What's this message say? Come on. Jumping. Okay, great. So who knows? Maybe that's the case. What is down there? A bear. I don't want anything to do with that. Let's not do that. It is fairly difficult to map out the environments in this game. I kind of wish... There's the map marker. I may as well go get that. I kind of wish that this... This is the kind of game that really needs to have some way of determining where you have been and what you have done. What, you know, it does to some degree. But, like, for example, the Ashes of War. You know, let's go grab this. I'll be using a Faith build eventually. There we go, Sacred Blade. Like the Ashes of War, there's a lot of them that are just on the map, like this. And if you're going through a bunch of characters, it's sort of like getting heart piece. Like I used to do this in Ocarina of Time. I played through that game a lot as a little bitty little lad. I would always forget which heart pieces that I picked up. I remember one time playing through the whole game and missing one, and I didn't know where it was. And it turned out that it was actually in the ranch. And I was like, no, I already picked that one up. I vividly remember picking it up. And it turned out that I had, at some point, picked it up and then done something stupid, or I'd left the controller down. I think that's what had happened. I put the controller down and went to get something to eat and didn't know that the time of day was changing. And then skeletons woke up and killed me while I was outside. And I just proceeded on. And since I hadn't saved it, that meant that I was just without that heart and didn't realize it. But if the game had just marked it and said, here, you found one here, then that problem would have gone away entirely, because then I could just cross-reference it against the things that I knew were there and seen that I hadn't gotten it. If you have collectibles in your game, you need some sort of way of doing that. Even if... This is what I want. Even if you're looking at the map here, you could at least like break up each one of these areas into little bitty, like it's already here, a little tiny, like little dotted line. And just have it be like a little white area that shows up. Like you go over here and you can see it sort of just barely light up so it doesn't obscure the map too much. And then like there's something off to the side of the screen that shows you any like very particular collectibles that you could get there. And I don't want it to turn into a fucking Ubisoft game or something where there's millions of things on the screen, but just having like Ashes of War 0 out of 2 or something. Like that's enough. That's all you need. It doesn't need to be every single item. This needs to be the things that are actually like fairly important. And this is the Third Church of Marika. This is the one that I'm supposed to sit down at, I believe. This is another sort of problem with this game. You get optional cutscenes that you can just miss if you don't sit down at the points of grace. Sacred Tear. Crimson Crystal Tear. So this is where you also get the Flask of Wonders Physic. I couldn't quite remember where I got it. So let's read both of those. Flask of Wonders Physic. A relic of the Physic Chemist. I think I've already read this. Priest of the Earth Tree. Harness the power of crystal to form at the passage of many moons. Because I remember it forming at the base of the trees. Various special measurements depending on the basins are placed at the foot of the minor tree. So not the base of the major one. Just the minor ones. Throughout the lands between in order to collect their crystallized tears. Also, because it's a FromSoft game, they had to rephrase it as being a tier. For God knows what reason. Because it has to be sad. So let us rest here. Giant just pacing around out there. Let's mix. I guess you're supposed to get it here, and you're like, oh, I need to mix it, right? That's the first thing I want to do. So that's supposed to be your trigger for sitting down here? Crimson Crystal Tear. Crystal Tear forms slowly over the ages where the Earth Tree's bounty falls to the ground. It can be mixed in the Flask of Wonders Physic. Okay. So yeah, just nothing really to learn from that one. And you get the option, talk to Melina. So let's talk to our pretty little lady here.
Spoken echoes linger here. Words
It's very
of
informative.
Queen Marika, who vanished long ago. If you wish, I will share them with you.
Okay, I think Marika is the name of the queen or the goddess, whatever, that was the source of all the demigods. I think. I'm not used enough to the opening cutscene to tell you for absolutely certain, but I think that's the case. Also, a lot of the names of the characters in this game are very, very similar to one another. Like, they start with very similar letters, they have the exact same length. It's very confusing.
My lord, and thy warriors, I divest each of thee of thy grace. With thine eyes dimmed, ye will be driven from the lands between. Ye will wage war in a land afar, where ye will live and die. Well, perhaps that might serve you in lieu of a maiden's guidance.
So again, she is some sort of failed maiden, or she's at least taking the place of one. So she is not a maiden, whatever that means. And from what I gather, maidens are made in a rather horrific way, although we haven't got to that point yet. So she can't offer the guidance that a maiden would give, but her way of sort of resolving it is by recalling something that Marika once said to her followers. And apparently she said that you guys will leave this place, in other words, this land that we're in, Lordran, whatever its name is, I don't know. And you will go to lands beyond, because we have heard about characters returning here in search of their ancestral homelands. But after you leave this land, you will make war with one another and basically just be assholes to one another. So it makes it sound as almost like they're leaving a Garden of Eden sort of scenario. Like, I guess that's supposed to be the implication. Okay.
Let my hand rest upon you for but a moment.
Ah, yes, I've never leveled up.
With me. Your thoughts, your ambition.
Okay.
Principles you would follow.
So even though I will eventually have faith, I'm not going to level that up right now. The thing that I've discovered that you absolutely... In Elden Ring, the pacing of the game is very strange and very particular to the amount of levels that you have. In the sense that at the very start of the game, there's one thing that you probably need more than anything else, and that is damage. At least for... if you're going to be... Oh, hold on. No. The first thing you need to do is to get the requirements for the weapon that you're going to be using. But the weapon that you're going to be using might be so far off that you can't even obtain it. Like, you can run and get it, but that will fuck up your whole game save, so I can't do that. I can't use the Lucerne. I won't be able to use the Lucerne until we're in part fucking 50. Because otherwise I might miss up their fucking precious-ass NPC questlines that they're so goddamn enamored with. You think if they were so proud of their NPC questlines that they would make them easier to follow. Instead of teleporting everyone around. Oh, did you look at a pebble? Oh, we'll teleport, skip steps 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Teleport the characters to the endgame now. They had to see that part first. Why'd they do it that way? Fucking calm down and just let us fucking talk to the people. What the hell's wrong with you? But you have to play it that way. You have to figure out what weapons that you're going to get in the order that you're going to get them. A lot of the game orients around having prior knowledge. Like, for a first playthrough, you will fuck your first playthrough. Elden Ring is really bad about it. Like, really bad. Again, in the comments below, leave your experiences as far as what your regrets and your build and playthrough happen to be, because there's going to be a lot of them. like the way that I have it laid out is, I forgot to have it started up. No, I don't want to download Notepad++ update package. Shut the hell up. I'm trying to open things up so I can see what I was going to do. My plan was, if I'm going to go Dex, which I'm not sure if I should go Dex Faith or Strength Faith, because there's two different sort of advantages. With Strength Faith, a lot of the, whatever they're called, not talismans in this game, seals. A lot of the seals in this game scale off of strength as well, but apparently not that much, so it doesn't really matter too much. At the same time, dexterity does scale your ability to cast magic, but the amount of dex that you would need to be able to even remotely notice it is so incredibly insignificant that that system may as well just not exist. Like, even by the time that you hit like 50 dex, you can sort of just barely notice, unless it's like a spell where you're just casting non-stop. Like the basic sorcery where you're just like pew, 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 whatever that one's called. If you just cast that one for like a good, 10 seconds, then yeah, you'll start to notice it a little bit. And I'm not going to be leveling to like 60 dex, 60 faith. That's fucking stupid. Of course I'm not going to do that. So that's kind of not even really an issue either way. But the amount of dex weapons that you find in this first area is pathetic. Well, there's the Uchi and the flail, and that's just about it. And there's really not even really any strength weapons either. There's just like a bunch of middling, like piddly, kind of useless weapons. Like short swords, long swords. There's like one or two things that are somewhat useful. There's also lots of things like the dismounter. You can get that from the Karen guys back there. That has really high strength requirements, though, and I think it even has higher dex requirements. So the odds of you being able to actually use it are not particularly good. A lot of weapons are like that, too. I'll have to get another weapon out of one of the Gale enemies, and apparently there's an NPC questline that ties into that fucking thing, too. I'm glad I read about that. There's so much. There's so much. It's so irritating to talk about. So what to do with this build, I don't know. I don't know whether to go Strength Faith or Dexterity Faith. That's the reason why I started asking people. And I get the impression that people enjoy the game the most going Dex Faith. I think. Although I might be wrong about that. But for the time being, like the points that I want to hit is 40 Vigor, then later 58 if I can. 40 Mind... 20 mind, then later 40, 55, then 57. These are like thresholds. As far as endurance, I think that I'll stay around 20, 25. I could go up to 40, but I don't see any reason to unless I'm going strength. Which is another reason why I kind of wanted to avoid strength. And I think the main reason why I want strength, I want a big heavy weapon of some sort that will actually be able to stagger enemies. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my mind. I despise playing the game without the ability to stagger enemies in some way. Thankfully, I'll have a strike weapons for the cave enemies that you'll need strike weapons against, because otherwise that's miserable. But the flail can meet those requirements, so I think I'm good on that. So strength, if I'm running a dex build, will be 13, and then maybe up to 18. Maybe. It depends on what weapons I eventually get. It'll be either 13, 14. So right now I'm good on dex, so I'm not going to level that. The minimum that I'm going to need to be able to wield the things that I want for dex would be 24, based on what I've read in the wikis. Faith eventually will be 30, 50, 60, 80. But that will take a really, really long time. And I won't be touching Int, and I won't be touching Arcane. Arcane, huge waste of time. Even on the characters where I bothered trying to level it up, I never used it and never did anything. It's a complete waste of time. So that's my plan. For the time being. So let's level Arcane. No, I'm just kidding. I guess for the time being... it'll be the safest to level... Vigor and Endurance. Let's do it that way. Because I'll be using those either way, and you will always need Vigor. Like, vigor you need monstrous amounts of. Okay, so there we go. No more talking. Let's roll. So long, Ghosty. Goodness. I hope you guys... Like, I know a lot of people are still, like, honeymooning with the game, of course, and this is a good game. But I think that a lot of people also have been playing the game enough that they probably know more than I. This game does have problems. Not necessarily one... They don't kill the game or anything. They're not that bad. They're just very annoying. It has lots of minor issues like that. I really need that map. It makes it really difficult to gain my bearings on where I need to talk about things when I don't have access to the maps. And I'll just ignore that. I'm going to grab this map and then teleport to another location. Somewhere safer, to where I can zone things out correctly. Cannot get into a fight with a bear. No, leave me alone, bear. Alright, map Limgrave East. I'll pick up this too. Ha ha ha. Alright, cookbook. Whoa! Map freeze. Nomadic Warriors Cookbook number 4. Hold on. Jesus. Of course a bear teleports directly into me. This is the I do this a lot. The easiest way to get enemies to de-aggro off of you so you can actually use the map is just quit the game, load back in, it resets their positions, and gets them to leave you the fuck alone. Because otherwise, like that stupid bear, pay attention to me. Otherwise, like that dumbass bear, yeah, I know, it will just follow you to the ends of the goddamn planet. Let's go over here. And it will refuse to leave you alone for like minutes at a time. And because you have to run so far away from it, you will eventually run into something else that will start following you. And then that will follow you for minutes at a time. Because the game really wants you to stop and fight. Okay. There's one thing that I wanted to talk to with him.
Weren't you... Well, you're back. Care to buy something?
Why exactly he says that, I don't know. Wait, weren't you? The Howling in Mistwood. I have not heard any Howling in Mistwood. I haven't been to Mistwood. Anyways, maybe it was in this playthrough and I just missed it. If you guys can hear a Howling in Mistwood at some point, let me know in the video recording. Supposedly you hear a big yell at some point, but I've never heard it before. Although in this playthrough apparently I did at some point. Which makes no sense because I did not do any exploring before. The only thing that you have not seen me do on this character was I ran to this church, talked to him, ran over to where I started the video, teleported back here, talked to what's-her-face, four-armed ghost blue lady, Ella... Renna. I talked to Renna, I think her name is. Got that, got the wolves, got the ability to summon. Then I went back, cleared out that little camp before I started the video, and then I started recording. That's it. Anyways, if you have not bought the crafting kit yet, leather bag containing a pistol, mortar, small blade, and various other tools. Enables item crafting with the main menu. Means to make the fight. If you haven't bought it yet, he gives you the little recommendation.
You should buy yourself a crafting kit.
Just skip something.
Kit allows you to make basic items on your own. Essential, really, if you intend to survive out here for any duration. The kit costs a bundle, and I admit I do take my cut. But the important thing is that you survive. Every customer counts, after all.
Okay. Not every single merchant in the game, even though a lot of them are distinct from one another, there are like one or two that I found that do repeat. So they're not completely distinct, but there are a lot of them. There are a lot of personality types. All of them except for, I'm assuming, Kale here. Kale, even if I start killing all the merchants for their stuff, I get the feeling he will probably still be allowed to be alive. So let's go ahead and buy that. Go ahead and buy this. Oh, or not. Okay, how about waypoint ones? Don't have enough? Great. Sell one of these stupid things. Buy this. Okay, and I'll worry about the other ones later. About the howling. I'll use the letter E on my keyboard again, even though it will probably skip this too.
Of a wolf
Oh, good.
in the Mistwood. I suppose he must still be skulking about. I know. Why not meet him for yourself? Next time you hear the wolves howl, make this signal right under the source. Ah, don't fret. There is nothing to fear. I just have an inkling the two of you might hit it off.
Okay. I've never actually done this. I've never actually even gotten the finger snap thing.
I'm glad you took my warning to heart. You've made an excellent choice.
Okay. That is purchased. That is complete. How they get that guy to actually spawn in, I don't know. This way? Yes, this way. Okay. So the next thing we need to do... I can't do that yet. I was about to go down and clear out that cave and get the sewing stuff, but I can't do that because I'm underleveled. Or I could, but it would be absolutely miserable. I can't clear out the Knight Rider yet. Can't do that. God, it's so irritating playing this way. I really need to overlevel so I can do all these things instantly for the sake of doing the LP. Actually, before I do all that, is this actually organized? Yeah, it is. This is a strange way that... Why is it organized memory of grace last? These aren't organized that way at all. Oh, because they're... No, it's not because they're equipped. That has too. What a... Why are... This is at the front. This is at the... Whatever. Okay. Smoldering butterfly. Internally burning butterfly found near wildfires and elsewhere. Material used for crafting items. Nothing there. Already seen that. Human bone. Fragment of bone with dun mottling. Don't know what that is. Material used for crafting items found by those who live in death. Lamentably brittle, it crumbles at the slightest caress. Lamentably brittle. Oh, woe is me, brittle bone. Grave violet. A purple flower that blooms in graveyards. Material used for crafting items. The hue of ghost flame. So I guess ghost flame is purple. Because Japan and the color purple, you know, death, etc. It's believed to be useful in calling forth spirits. Blood rose. We found both of these in the catacombs. Blood slick roses that bloom in blood-soaked soil. Material used for crafting items. It'd be hard to say that. Blood slick roses bloom in blood-soaked... Blood slick roses bloom in blood-soaked... See, I can't do it. It's hard. I'm the litmus test for that sort of thing. Particularly beloved by those who serve the Lord of Blood. Glory to his inevitable reign. Goodness. Wow. So are we still operating under the premise that the character themselves is the one that's actually describing these things? Is there a character in with the Lord of Blood? Okay. I guess... I was about to say that maybe the Catacombs and the Lord of Blood are related, but not necessarily. Because if these just grow up wherever someone dies, or wherever blood falls, then that could be anywhere. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. Root resin. Resin is created from the roots of the great tree. Can be found near trees on the surface. Materials created from the roots of the great tree were once linked to those... Oh! The roots of the great tree were once linked to those of the Erd tree. Or so they say. And it's for this reason catacombs are built around great tree roots. I think this is the thing that we did read. But I did notice that the roots of the great tree were once linked to the Erd tree, or so they say. Linked. They were once linked. So maybe it's like... I don't know what the great tree even is. Maybe it's like something underground. Because if it's really that great, then... if it's something that's supposed to be roughly equivalent to the Erd Tree, where is it? Like, I can't see it, so it must be someplace where I can't see it. Or maybe it's in the sky. I don't know. But if they were once linked, you would think it would be underground. But if it were linked like that, you would think that either it's like one of those weird stone trees that they're so fond of, or maybe it's like growing upside down or something. But I guess the roots would have to be linked together in some fashion. Although if they're creating this sort of weird dichotomy thing, then it would stand the reason that there is some sort of... what is it called? I can't remember. That maybe there's some sort of, like, yeah, dichotomy that they're going for, where is this idea of two things existing as one? Because they keep going with this whole everything is related, the Erd Tree is the source of all things. But if the Great Tree and the Erd Tree were once interconnected in some way, then it's like the game's theme is aiming towards this separation of, I don't know, spirit and body, or the separation of one thing into two things. I don't know. That's too vague of a thought. String, boasting no special qualities, is merely a good length of string. There's something about that's very comforting. Like, there's this thing where, oh, the roots of the great tree which you have never seen, once linked to the Erd Tree in the ancient past. It is for this reason catacombs are built near the great tree roots, although the rune of death was used to sublimate the... Now, this one's like, string. It's a pretty good length of string. That's it. Petrol used for crafting alcohol covered different humans. Used to make certain items either use. That's nice. Herba, just on the plants, mechanics, faint lights. Okay. Sanctuary stone. Let me... Yeah, it's still on order of acquisition. That's good. Okay. And mushroom fungal growth. Takes much of a keyboard throwing pots. Okay, that's it. Oh, wait. I forgot. Yes, these things. Okay, these are the notes that I've been buying. I've never read these. Notes sold by a nomadic merchant imparting knowledge and brief. Beware the fire monks' chariots bearing the face of giants. Okay, that's the thing that I saw in one of the prior parts, and I was like, what the fuck is that? A well-aimed blow to the chimney on top may prove effective, but opportunities for a plunging attack will be rare indeed. Yeah, I've never tried doing that before. That's nice to know. Okay. A flask of wondrous physics still remains in the third church in Marika. Well, I already got it, so... North of the Mistwood. Cross the highway bridge and follow the animal trail north? Huh, so apparently people don't go there. That's just a trail that was made by animals. Which is the thing. If you go out into the woods, out behind this house, then you'll see, like, deer trails and things. Someone lurks among the waypoint ruins on the roads through Limgrave. That is true. There's a guy there that... Where is that? I think it's like right here. I'll go over there. And I'll try to avoid big screamy man. I heard something just now, but I wasn't sure what it was. Oh, maybe it's just some screaming again. Actually, I need to... While I'm thinking about this... Where should it be? Let's put it here. I don't give a shit about the fucking ring. Where's my little finger snap thing that I just got? Finger snap. Okay. Yeah, it does snap his... This is a nice finger snap. Good for you. Okay. I'll figure out where the hell to use that later. It said to listen for screaming, but there's a lot of screaming. Okay. This is only a vague idea that I have. If you ever wonder where all the screaming is, it's these guys. They don't animate. No. They don't actually animate at all. By the way, I don't know what the hell's down there. Probably death. They don't animate, but they do a big scream. They don't much care for what's happening to them. Look carefully. look carefully. At what? Behold tarnished. What? The ruins? No, the graves? What about them? They are indeed graves. There's some sort of emblem, but I can't really make out what it is. Not going to pay too much attention to it. But it'd be nice if I could spend a moment to look at Screeny Boys without being accosted by bats. So you can use it on horseback. So these guys have the same, like, burning effect that the Scarlet Rot seems to leave, or at least is the Scarlet Rot is associated with what this looks like. The walls and the church up there that I haven't been to on this character have this appearance. But again, it doesn't really look exactly like embers. It doesn't look like they've been burned. It's just something that things have on them. But they all seem to have it, whatever that actually is. So why exactly, like this guy has the wreath on him, so apparently he did something mildly naughty. That guy also has it on him. Actually, they all have it on him. So they all have this mark of some sort of minor infraction on their bodies. I don't know if that guy has it. It almost looks like a scarf, but it could be because I'm viewing it at a distance. So yeah, they're all being punished in some way. For something. So maybe the reason why they have that weird appearance is because it's either a cause or effect sort of thing. Either, go away bats, God I hate you. Either they are being punished in relation to the reason why that they have that appearance, or they have that appearance because, yeah, there he is. They have that appearance because it's part of their punishment. Don't know. Let's take a look at his little campsite. What the hell is this? I guess you could crawl in there and nap. Something died over there. Is that actually for sleeping? This is one of those things where, obviously, they did their research, and this is there for, like, the thing in front of the fireplace. I've seen those in the past, but at first I thought, well, maybe it's there to block heat and reflect heat back, because, you know, this helps the fire. But there's no reflective surface. It's just an empty thing. And some people said maybe it was used to hang clothing to dry it. It's also a possibility. I don't know. It's just one of those things where FromSoft sometimes will research old folksy things from hundreds of years ago, and we've lost the knowledge of what it is in our daily, like day-to-day lives. So whether this is for him actually crawling under and sleeping, I don't know. I guess it could be. I kind of doubt it. It looks too particular, like it's made for something. Other than that, he also has himself a little platform that he has built for holding his little planks, which you would think would be for sitting, not for I was about to say maybe this looks like something that could be disassembled and carried with you, but it looks too cumbersome for someone that doesn't have a traveling companion, like a mule or something. So that seems kind of unreasonable. But he also has a shit ton of these sacks with him. So maybe this is like a campsite that he uses fairly regularly. Oh, also, because of the little embers over here, the Erd tree leaves that are falling, my item discovery has gone up. Where is that? Discovery, yeah. I keep looking for item discovery instead of just discovery. 107, wow. We're really rolling in it now, guys. Alright. But this is the guy that we actually encountered as a summon. We can get a better look at his face now. He's actually wearing... He is wearing this ridiculous little colander hat. But he does at least have a little protective bit of cloth that rests just under it, because otherwise that would be very uncomfortable. Let's see. He also has a horn with him, which is kind of unusual considering that he presumably would be hunting solo. And a pouch. The rest of his outfit. This is a nice looking outfit, by the way. Elden Ring, I don't really care for the outfits in Elden Ring because they range from like what I'm wearing, or they're kind of just utility, but they're not really stylish. They're kind of just there. And then there's like one or two that are kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then there are a large amount of ridiculous like MMO style armors that just don't look particularly amazing to me. Also, he's wearing this ring on his belt. I'm not sure what... I would describe it as a talisman, but not like a video game talisman in this case. What that's for, I don't know. What significance it has, no idea. Also, he has a shit ton of bloodstains around him. Why? Why were people fighting him? Maybe people don't trust him for some reason.
You must be the new Tarnished. You do well to steer clear of a Gill Lake fledgling.
Very
The
old.
dragon roosts there.
Ghost,
Just as
please leave.
fearsome as it is majestic. So, unless you're mad or wish to be burned alive, stay clear of the lake.
Fun fact, I've never had that dragon spawn, ever. I've never seen it.
Don't be a fool. Turn back before it's too late.
Okay. That's all he says as far as I know. Alright. I'm glad we did that, got that out of the way, so I didn't forget about it. Didn't want to accidentally run into him later on. Again, I'm going to try to not do anything on this character unless you guys see it. Which is unfortunate for me, because I really detest playing that way. I will, however, like farm the whatever this is, the Gatefront ruins. I will like farm that to try to get some clothing and some items and maybe some runes and stuff. If anyone can think of a good place in this first area to actually farm runes, that would be lovely, because I'm gonna need them. And I'm not at the point where I want to give up the ability to play multiplayer and to start using cheat engine to solve every problem. Come on. Come on. There we go. God, the slowdown. Up something with him. I think it's easier to just get off the fucking horse. Yeah, much better. You'd think that these soldiers would be like, thanks, buddy, we're friends now. You really saved my life. No, they hate you too. They don't care. I'll kill both of them at the same time. No, I'm the cool one. I'm cool. Very cool. It's cool to kill multiple people at the same time. What could be cooler, really? Did I already... No, I didn't. There was a little waypoint around just here that I have not used yet. But we'll grab this and then go down. We'll go down, down, down. In the meantime, I will point out that there are ruins around here. Like, there's these things, which, according to the... Please, okay. According to the ruin fragment item description that we got, anytime that you see these, which are just things that are just lying on the ground, these are part of the ruins that fell from the sky. From some sort of kingdom or something that is described in as vague terms as possible. And they apparently have been here for quite a while. But this one used to be a giant arch. There's only a few generic models of these things. This is probably one of the most unique that's in the game that I've seen so far. But I briefly wanted to look at this, just because there's not much to actually see. You would think that if they were ruins of some sort of building, then they would have like doors, windows, like sconces, just anything that would be useful for a building to have. But they never seem to have that. They're just these gigantic slabs of usually a curved, like, building that would be fairly large, like a Colosseum-style, like, size building, that have these completely filled in, like, emblematic sort of windows. This is the one bad thing about doing it on horseback. But yeah, there's not much to actually see on them. It's too worn off. You can't really make out anything. Bricks. Yeah, there's just not a lot to see on them most of the time. But point being is that they don't look like they were things that were meant to be lived in. Slumbering egg. This guy killed an owl. That's the item that you get from killing owls, which I refuse to do. Slumbering egg. Owl eggs that will never hatch. Probably because they don't have a mother. Material used for crafting items. Now, whether or not it's actually because they don't have a mother, I don't know. This is the joke that I have in my head. Prized as a symbol of the most sublime slumber. Like, any egg that you take from something is going to be an egg that never hatches. Unless, of course, you're going to incubate it and do that yourself. But yeah, there's a distinction between the ruins that fell from the sky and ruins that, like, look like this. Which seem to be ruins that were built here, because, you know, they're clearly in the ground. Like, these are the, like, older sort of... They're almost kind of a copper color. Like, very stony. And these are the ones that are... No, obviously it's still made of stone. But very kind of dark gray, almost sort of obsidian looking in a way. We need to go down there, actually. Now, why exactly there are ruins here, what this used to be, I don't know. Like, for example... This... Like, look at this, for example. I don't know if this means anything or not. Like, this clearly, archway, probably used to be either a... Used to be like that. Like, see, there's the bridges over there. They look the exact same way, right? So either this also was a bridge that led to something, in which case the bridge... Come on, please stop freezing for like a good 5 seconds. Elden Ring, you really need stability patches. Like, they're staggered. Like, the ruins, the way the ruins are laid out is just so bizarre. Also, is that a bird up there? What the fuck is that? Oh, that's a hand. Okay, that's the statue behind it. Okay. Yeah, like, some portions of it, like, if that was a bridge, it would be extending in this direction. And then there's another one that's, like, right here that would be extending this way. Then there's another one that would be extending, like, sort of in this direction. So the layout doesn't really make a lot of sense. And that could just be chalked up to it being not that important. It's hard to tell with these games. Sometimes the placement of such things is incredibly vital, and other times it just doesn't matter. Like, some have fallen here. Like, this one out here, out in the middle of nowhere, is, like, leading up clearly to right there. Why? Like, what possible function would that have served? You get what I'm saying. The ruins don't really make a lot of sense. But it does seem to indicate that there used to be a much larger civilization here that has crumbled into nothing. Let me go over right here. I think I can probably... Okay. You be very careful. There we are. Thank you, Magic Horse. No problem. That's his voice. Can you believe it? Smokes a lot of menthols. It's not good for him. Told him to stop, but he won't stop. You have a relative like that? Like they're doing something that they know is bad for them? And they get very barky whenever you, like, don't like that they're doing... Like, especially if it's smoking, because it affects you. Even if you don't believe in secondhand smoke being that detrimental to your health. You're like, it's still smoke. Haladrake talisman. But anytime you bring it up, you're like, come on, dude. Thankfully, I've never lived around smokers. Smoking was way more of a thing whenever I was younger, back in the 1980s. Like, especially in the 70s. A lot of the people listening to this, you probably have grown up in an era in which... Like, I was raised in an era in which smoking was seen as more something to be defeated. Like, you know, anti-drug, like, warfare or whatever was big whenever I was a kid. So smoking was, like, one of the first things to go because it's such an obnoxious habit that people have. Because it stinks and the people that smoke need extra breaks so they can take their smokes. It's just really... just something that has fallen deeply out of fashion here in the United States over the past 30, 40 years. Haladrake Talisman. It depicts a golden ancient dragon. It almost looks more like a continent, like a map. Not so much a dragon. In fact, it doesn't really look like a dragon at all. It assuredly looks like a map. Whatever. The ancient dragons who ruled in the prehistoric era, before the Erd Tree. What was the other thing that I said may have happened before the Erd Tree? The astrologers. Yeah, the telescope description. The people that studied the skies may have been a thing before the Erd Tree. Rukas would protect their lord as a wall of living rock. Okay. And so it is that the shape of the dragon has become symbolic of all manner of protections. It doesn't look like anything. Like, it sort of vaguely looks like a dragon. Like, if you look at the... Like, you probably have seen it already. But you can sort of see the head. It's at the top left. And then the thing that looks like a river. It's the thing that separates the neck from what I guess is supposed to be a wing in part of its profile. And then it has like a little claw at the bottom of that. And then another back claw that's right next to it. And the tail that looks like Florida. Or the... It looks like Japan, really. The little Japan shape down there would be its tail. And the thing above it would be its other wing, I guess. If someone drew that, that's a terrible drawing. To me, it's very clearly supposed to resemble sort of a dragon, but also more resemble rock. Or just like a wall. Just a wall. Which, again, remember that the ruins that I was talking about that fall from the sky, and the ruin fragments say that those came from some ancient civilization. And also we've found before that modern variations of dragons, which are lesser than their original kin, can be hurt by the gravel that is made from the stone of the original dragons. And there we just learned that dragons are... The dragons are... Like, they would form walls around their lord, whatever their lord was, it doesn't say. So it could be that the ruins that are falling from the sky that weirdly have... like window shapes but no windows. Maybe those are like the remains of dragons in some way that I don't understand. It doesn't really make any sense to me, but I guess it's possible. Now I wonder if I can kill this gentleman. You can do this on horseback. It is much more difficult to do on foot. Can you please get away from that ruin? Don't just chase, go attack. Had to be very careful doing this early, though. When I had a Freelid with my greatsword, I could just do this without really any effort at all. Here, I think my R2s are better suited for this. Damn it. Had to evade that. Like, I am a very cautious person by nature. I don't like being hit by things in games. Some people just like face-fucking things. Like, they're like, well, I've got 3 flasks, fuck it. And they'll just run up and just face-fuck it until it dies. Wow, that does cause me to take some damage. I thought it just pulled me in. Me. There we go. That's what I wanted. That's what I didn't want. I was trying to clear that before that happened. There we go. Okay. It's not really that hard, just, you know, kind of tedious. Gravitas. Remember when Gravitas was a big... You guys have no idea what I'm talking about. I think it's like the 2000s. Like, ever so often, the news, like the mainstream news, will start using a particular word because they're trying to push some sort of stupid narrative, because that's how American politics work. They'll all call one another and be like, we're going to do this! And then they'll start using the same terminology. That's sort of how, like the Black Lives Matter thing and the Antifa and all that happened. There's like a unified narrative that people like to push. But for a while, like in the 2000s, people kept using the word gravitas, even though no one uses that word in the Americas. So everyone was making fun of the mainstream media doing that. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, gravitas? Oh, he has a lot of gravitas. But no one talks that way. You very clearly are outing yourself as trying to push some sort of bizarre political narrative. Stop doing that. It's just embarrassing. Okay, so... Anyways, Gravitas. We'll look at Mr. Gravitas. Before I forget. We didn't look at Sacred Blade, did we? Oh, Ash of War grants armament Sacred Affinity to the following skill. Grants armament's attacks Holy Essence and fires off a golden blade projectile. The armament remains its Holy Essence for a while. So just nothing, no lore. Just it's Sacred Blade. Also, you may not be able to tell, there are dogs barking wildly outside because they're bored, which is just lovely. Gravitas, skill originating from the Alabaster Lords. Alabaster means that they're red. No, it's not. I'm joking. I think it means that they're very pale. I think. It's been a while since I thought about it. Who had skin of stone. I think it may mean that they're kind of marbly. Let me look it up real fast, actually. That's what everyone enjoys, right? Me looking up information. Thrust the armament into the ground to create a gravity well. In addition to dealing damage, this attack pulls enemies in. It is mildly useful. I will say that. I have used it in the past. It's... The big problem, though, is that whenever you do pull enemies in, it doesn't stun them for very long. So you can pull enemies right into your face that will just instantly attack you. Which is not too useful. Okay, oh, it's just a variety of rock. It is a compact, fine texture, usually white, so yeah, okay. It does have a connotation. It's like saying something is obsidian means that it's very dark black, but it's still a stone. It is white and translucent gypsum, often carved into vases and ornaments. Yep, that tracks. So the Alabaster Lords. So another link to stone. Who had skin of stone. So maybe they also have something to do with dragons. Maybe. There is a lot of people like trying to be like dragons or serving dragons or maybe trying to turn into dragons or something that seems to be going on. Although we don't really have the information for it yet. Go away, crab. At least they're not lobsters. God, the fucking giant crawdads in this game are just the worst. Because those things have like this fucking Kamehameha that they all do. They can hit you from across the map. It's like you've left the area like a good... Wait, what am I doing? Shouldn't have done that. I was thinking about talking. I was thinking about Kamehamehas again. Which usually gets me killed. But yeah, you have left the area like a long time prior. I was thinking about this over here. Hold on. I was thinking about that. This little area that you can potentially fall down to right there. Thank you, Horseneck. I was thinking about that. Boop. Go collect this. Oh, he respawns. I never even thought about it. And of course, if you didn't know, that talisman that we picked up back there is right at the start of the game. It can be the first thing you pick up if you want to take that circuitous of a route all the way back around. Which I don't. There's some naughty men down here. An item. And we are slowly mapping out this portion. And it seems like there is a cave that's up there. I think. A catacombs area. There is another catacombs area that is... I can't access my map right now because angry boys are trying to accost me with their mighty clubs. I think it's somewhere around here. Over there, actually. There is a catacomb that's right... I think up here. I believe. And most of the catacombs look exactly the same, which is kind of irritating. But it is what it is, right? I mean, if you're going to make a game this big, they have to do that. That one actually is very visually distinct. Large club, alright. It is very visually distinct. What do we got here? But it's also one of the most annoying to go through because it's very long and there's some sections where you have to please stop locking up. There are some sections where you have to like platform on. There's like one little section where you absolutely have to go across it if you're going to do this one specific thing. And you have to jump onto this pillar that's right over an instant kill death cam like water area. But you still have to run in order to jump to the next section. And there's really not enough room to get a running start. And if you try to just jump and then while you're still running jump again, you will fall. If you try to like very safely initiate a run, then you'll backstep because you're not moving. And as a result, you will backstep off the ledge and die. So you have to like very, very particularly position yourself so that you can actually jump over there. It's not cool. Just like the gentleman screaming in my face isn't cool. Also, I still don't know where exactly that cave is. I know it's supposed to be around here somewhere. And I remember the last time that I found it, thinking, wow, it took me forever to find this. It was right here. But I don't know where it is. And unfortunately, since I have to play this on screen... Could you please stop taking damage, ma'am? Torrency girl now. Might be right here. Or not. To find a rune fragment, though. Apparently they, like, live under the ground. These little demi-human things. Because they're erupting out of the dirt. Maybe during the daytime they like to go under there. I don't know. I think it's like right around here. It could be actually off this. I don't think so, though. I would also like to find Wolfie Boy, if given the chance, but I don't think I'm going to. Well, I think my guess was wrong. I would have loved to have done more this particular episode, but I don't think I'm going to manage it. Especially with these angry boys following me every step of the way. Yeah, this particular cave is very annoying to try to track down. It's in a very particular area. And it's embedded in the wall such a way that, depending on the time of day, you can't really see it. Wait. No, it's not that. I thought that was the edge of an opening, but it's not. Oh well, I guess I'll go do something else and go do that some other time. Well, never mind. The fucking map is locked out because these dumbasses are screaming and running around. Kill us, please! No, not for like, what, 40 runes? Why would I bother? It's a waste of time. This is kind of one of my biggest issues with the feeling of doing what I'm doing now, is that everything feels like a waste of time. Like, you do run places and collect things. Might as well grab the waypoint that's over here. Like, you collect things, but you don't want to, like, live in this area. Because there's just nothing there. You're not going to level up. You're really not going to make any progress. You just collect the things that you need. Lock on. You collect the things you need, and then you leave this area as fast as possible. You know, Bach is okay. His people don't much care for the constant screeching. Could be better. Could be worse, I guess. Could be better. Thanks. Thanks for that. And this one. 42. Wait, did that guy not drop anything? No, I mean, his runes. I watched 42 pop out from the demi-human, but it seems like the soldier didn't actually drop any. Or maybe it went up without me realizing it. I don't know. Anyways, there's this. And it looks like there's a little shack over there. I never really paid any attention to. I really wish there was some sort of, like, system where you could look at the map and it would tell you all the things that you've missed. Because it's so hard to, like, Sliver, it's nothing. Like, it's nothing. Whenever I talk about not wanting to play the game like this, that's a good case point for what I'm talking about. There's just nothing to talk about in that regard. I do need to grab this. There's an Ash of War on this little dude. Of course, you have to scroll through a million guys before you get to it. There we go. Unsheath. So that's a Dexterity one, so I might be using that one if I end up going Dexterity. Which I think I should. If you guys disagree and think I should go Strength, Faith, then go ahead and tell me. Somehow I get the impression you don't care. Whenever I'm playing this and recording them, I'm like, who is watching this? Why is anyone watching this? Now here's something I did a lot on multiple characters. I would spawn, chase down this guy, but not too close to those other guys. Wow, he took no damage. Unfortunately, these guys are also incredibly irritating to fight on horseback. Wow, he's taking no damage from that. Don't do that. Unfortunately, I'm used to doing this with a weapon that has way more damage. Much more useful to do this on the horseback. There we go. And I kill this guy over and over again to get his drops. Unfortunately, it takes a long time to get any drops from anything in this game. Alright. So, lake. That. I don't have my thing open anymore because I had to close everything. Let's go down into the lake, actually, and try to cover the two things that I've already done, which would be the invasion. Then I'll get to those catacombs. And also, there's the Patches Cave. That's something I can do. Although I'm so low level, then this invasion guy might just completely fuck me up. I have no idea. Like, I'm probably, like, very one-shottable right now. Oh my god! I don't know if you guys can actually see that. The screen freezing for, like, a good 5 seconds. This nearly got me killed a few times. Oh, I need to look at my large club description. Unfortunately, I can't do that now that I'm being chased by skeletons, now that I've remembered this. And also, this stupid fly will probably follow me to the ends of the earth. Well, here we go. I was afraid of that. take care of this, though. Get it out of the way. Especially since we've already run into What's-His-Face. This is Nereges. So we'll waste some time until What's-His-Face shows up and rescues us, since we're incapably weak right now. And I really don't feel like getting... Ugh! I really don't feel like getting hit by this stupid blood wave, or whatever the hell it's called. Because he loves to spam it. I can't get too close to these guys, though. Now to stay away from me. I'm doing like no damage to him. You're okay. Why is he why is he so vulnerable to there it is. He usually does 3 of those. Oh, I hate that move. It's so annoying. It actually even looks a bit like his ordinary attacks. Why is he just taking those? Why is he so vulnerable to this basic thrusting attack? And it sounds like Euro is back there fighting a bug or something. Oh my god, Euro. Euro. Wow, you got in that last hit, huh? What a hero. No need to thank me. Yeah. Cool. Alright, so Reduvia. Yura, the hero, returns to his world, even though we just saw him like a few feet over. Going back to his little shitty hut, no doubt. What a hero. Alright. We'll dip in here real fast. Do this. Look at Large Club. Look at Reduvia, which I think I already looked at Reduvia. Jagged Dagger, Singular Blade, used by... Yeah, Noble Swords, Loyal Blood. Because I made point that it looks ridiculous. Inflicting blood loss, signification, present, the sickest of the vicious done, permanently coated in blood. Yep. Okay. And Large Club. A thick, solid lump of wood. Wielding the striking weapon requires... Wielding the striking weapon requires no skill. I can feel Miyazaki writing this. Considering that he, like, Miyazaki has, I don't know if it's him specifically, FromSoft has had a lot of issues since Dark Souls 1. Because it feels like they've had it out for very slow weapons, and they've had it out for shields. And they're very preoccupied with the idea that rolling, like mashing the roll button, and mashing the R1 button is the epitome of skill. Like you're a god of skill if you can see an enemy, run at it, and then just mash the attack button until you run out of stamina, and then whenever it turns to attack you, you roll away. Wow, such skill. Like Miyazaki seems obsessed with that, and he tried to turn the fucking series into an action series for a while. And Elden Ring seems to be taking a little bit of a step back from that, but it still seems to love to shit on heavy weapons, especially as the game goes on. Like, no, you need to use something very small and very ineffective against most things, and very visually unimpressive. Which I don't blame him. You wouldn't want everyone running around with nothing except for huge heavy weapons. I just don't think that they have developed the combat system in effective enough of a way that every skill, every build type is effective throughout the entire game. In Elden Ring, their solution seems to be everyone needs to be able to do a little bit of everything. Which I don't necessarily agree with, I kind of appreciate, but you don't want everyone to be running what is essentially just, did you roll Int or did you roll Faith? Like, that's very boring. And it's very irritating because then you need shit tons of runes to be able to level up. It could probably be handled in a different way. I would like to talk about it more in the future, but I'm not going to do it right now. Simple primitive weapon that requires only brute strength to swing about. Yep. Okay. Activate this. Summoning pool's not functional. So this will allow me to hopefully buy out all of Patch's stuff, assuming I can farm the runes for it in this shitty area. then maybe buy out all the... Stop it. God damn it. Trade death. I didn't feel like healing. Actually, thinking about what else I need to... I'm not going to do anything on this character really besides do some very basic farming. So I guess I don't need to worry about too much of anything else. Every time I have to make sure that this is the right area. Alright, that's what I wanted. Okay, may as well go visit my friends down here. There we go, drop me some goodies. Oh, mushroom. Well, that's fine. Mushroom's okay. Still alive? Okay. Highwayman Hood, there we go. Got something to read. Something to read. Also, it's a little bit... Oh, I could be... Why is the mask so heavy, anyways? It has a weight of 3. Like, this gigantic metal hood, like, complete... One of the heaviest things that you could ever wear on your head historically. You know, it has a weight of 4, whatever. A mask, 3. Like, 1 less unit, whatever that is. Okay, anyways. Highwayman Hood, hideously stained and ragged hood. It looks like shit. This is another issue I have with their art department. This hood essentially has been in the other games. Like the Bandit hood in Dark Souls 1, that looked great. Like, it has a visually, like, very distinct appearance. It looks sort of worn down, but it's not that bad. You know, black mask. The outer hood is a little bit more like a brown color, I think, if I remember correctly. Looked very nice. It went through with a lot of different things. This looks like shit. This looks like a pile of garbage. Like you're wearing like a dirty, shit-stained burlap sack on your face. And as far as I know, there are no other... There are no other, like, headpieces that look like that I've seen so far. Also, I noticed that even though these guys are like bandits, and presumably they're like storing some of their stuff here, they have like, I don't know, bags of grain, presumably. Although you can sort of see inside these. What is this? This looks like generic something. It's probably designed to be such that you can actually make out what it is. And the rest of it is just like a few barrels, wood, and in this precious treasure chest, what will we find? 5 mushrooms. For some reason, they love putting mushrooms in the chests in this game. Or if you go down the securities route to find a corpse that's lying on a very dangerous ledge, what will be on it? A mushroom. It's some sort of running joke that they have internally, and I don't really understand it. But for whatever reason, they find it hilarious to put a mushroom on things. Alright. Let's go, hopefully, take care of Patches. Not get our asses kicked by one of the weakest enemies in the game. I'll have to pay some degree of attention. Give me that shit. I'm tempted to open the inventory and try to read it.
You scheming little thief! The gods demand repentance! Cough up your coin! All of it!
Wow, barely did any damage. There we go. Oh. Wow. Going a 4 combo whiff. Okay, one last little bout should be enough. Oh, don't do that. Bastard.
Wait, please! I surrender! White flag and all!
Now, according to people in the comments, whenever you're in co-op and you do this,
Well, finally come round.
you don't get any runes for it,
I knew you would.
like we didn't now.
You're a man of reason. Through and through.
And he like goes into a ghost state and becomes invisible. But you do get a precious 1 golden rune and grovel for mercy.
Ah. Well, what do you know? You're tarnished like me.
I wanted to actually re-listen to his dialogue.
I took you for a demi-human.
As far as
or some such.
his
An innocent
helper
mistake,
friends go.
I assure you. Well, water under the bridge. Now we're squared up. How about we play nice from now on?
Alright, apparently if you choose this, then the boss fight resumes. Which is... They set a bad precedent for this in the other games, because whenever you choose the option like, no, fuck you, then he would usually be like, oh, come on, and then he'll give you a free item. So you're actually rewarded for, like, wanting to kill him more. Even though the game is like, no, you don't. You actually don't. You don't want to do that. In this game, yeah, you just straight up... It forces your hand, so...
Patches the untethered. Tarnished like
Untethered.
you, only free-spirited. Nomadic, you might say. Only for now, those retired soldiers turned bandits. And they're paying for my gruel. In exchange for my, well, showing them the ropes. But honestly, this looting racket is bloody terrifying. Frankly, I'm ready to wash my hands clean. Maybe set up a legitimate shop. So don't be a stranger. I'll be ready to wheel and deal come next time.
He says that he's untethered and that the looting game is new to him and he finds it frightening, which it's patches, so you never know what part of his thing is a lie or not. It does make me wonder where he came from. I kind of like the little side cape that he has going on, though.
To pop back for another visit, friend. I'll be ready to wheel and deal come next time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, come next time means quit out and reload. Such is the case with FromSoft games. He can't just vanish and then reappear into a new... Like, you could just make the screen go black and then reset the area. You don't necessarily have to do that. Then again, I guess they don't want to do that because then some people might, like, leave items on the ground or some dumb thing. And that'll screw up their games. I don't know. Anyways, we got some really shitty clothing from him. Cloth garb. Clothing made of coarse material, commonly worn in the lands between. So it's just nothing.
Well, nice of you to drop all a bit.
Drop in, phone.
Welcome.
You'll find something well the Patches Emporium. Okay. I wanted to ask about the bandits again.
Suppliers, and good ones at that. I mean, they don't understand a word I'm saying, but it hardly matters. We have a natural connection. They're all foot soldiers, survivors of a defeated army.
Oh, survivors, okay.
Worked to the bone by their high and mighty lord, only to be thrown out with the rubbish. It's the same old story everywhere I go. To hell with it all.
It's fairly common in older, like, standing armies for after a group of soldiers is defeated, they often will, for whatever the reasons, go into being looters or bandits. Apparently that used to be more of a major issue. Which you would think in a modern army, you'd be like, well, just return to your army and then you'll get redeployed. Their rationalization for why it was that way back then, I'm not really certain. I think it had more to do with, like, one, if you were a standing military and you were defeated, regiment was defeated, that meant it was your failing and you would probably be looked upon disfavorably. You may even be executed for your failure, so there's nothing to go back to. Or it could be that your lord that you were serving with also in the process was killed, so there's nothing to go back to in that regard either. Or maybe it was just that they want an excuse to be able to desert because they never had any desire to be in the military, and they were conscripted against their will. Which was the case with many standing armies. They were being forced to fight in something that they clearly did not care about. Like with most wars, most of the people that serve in wars have no interest in the petty, pathetic, tiny-dicked energy of the old fat white man that's telling them to go do something that they don't want to do. I'm not being racist against my own race here. It's just historically that's what's going on. Whenever they, especially back then, whenever they have a chance to skedaddle, they're gonna skedaddle. So these guys, again, maybe the reason he says he can't understand a word that they're saying. Now that we know that the soldiers have supposedly lost their minds, maybe the reason why he can't understand them is not because they're speaking a different language, but because they've lost their minds. I don't know.
Wondering what's inside the treasure chest. Well, it's nothing too special. Just something I'm saving as thanks for a very valuable customer.
Very valuable
But
customer.
then again, it would fetch some spectacular coin. And
I looked it up.
besides,
It's a teleporter.
this valuable customer could be a long time coming. Huh? Everything is give and take. Give and take.
The last time I came across that in the LP, I was like, that's probably a trap. It's a trap. It's very overtly a trap. Okay. Missionary Cookbook 2. A record of crafting techniques left by a man who, unable to become a... What? A man? A record of crafting techniques left by a man who, unable to become a finger maiden, because he was a man or because of some other failing, instead became a missionary and went forth to spread holy teachings. That's too particular. Like him saying he was unable to become a finger maiden. That makes it sound as though he walked around all the time. Oh, it'd be my dream to be a finger maiden. And people will be, you're not a maiden. Oh, I know, I really want to be a finger... Because otherwise, why would they just... They would just say that there once was a missionary. So either men can become finger maidens, and he failed for some reason, or they just can't, and that's the reason why he was unable to, but he was obsessed with it. It's one of those two things, probably. Where the knowledge craft, scriptstone, grace mimics, and pickled... Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, let me just go through all these. This is the thing that drops more runes. I would love to be able to use these, but actually crafting these things, as I've gone over before, is a nightmare. Boosted amount of runes. Medical and goods, repulsor damage. I think I've gone over all these already. Glass shards, parrying dagger, enough. For masters of combat who anticipate every enemy strike and counter accordingly, this weapon is all they need. That is not true. And of course, I need a stone sword key, but I need the runes to be able to buy them. Attempts an invasion of another player's world, festering Bloody Finger. If successful, you arrive as an invader, with the objective of defeating the host of fingers in that world. This sprawled finger is blackened with blood congestion. It seems to have been chopped off rather unceremoniously. So these are... The multiplayer items are actual fingers. They describe them as being wax fingers for some reason. Which I would not think that some of them would be wax and some of them would be real. I'm guessing that they are waxing them to preserve them. So they are actual fingers. Alright. It was lopped off unceremoniously. Okay. Horse crest shield. The circular horse head design evokes a swift gallop. like the horse heads are spinning like a wheel. Sorry. Talisman fashioned from a dried twig so slender that it might snap at the slightest touch. Prevents rune loss upon death, but it will be lost upon itself in exchange. Believed to be a twig pruned from the Erd tree long, long ago. Okay, so this is something that came off the Erd tree, supposedly. And note that it is related to death. So, whenever you die, this gets consumed. So again, we're seeing the link between dying and returning to the Erd tree. Life presumably comes from the Erd tree in some way. So even this twig that once was a part of it, and is now, like, I guess a dead part of it, does sort of act like a... what would be the best way to describe it? It propitiates the death that you undergo for itself. Which you would think It doesn't make a lot of sense. I understand what they're going for, but you would think it would work in reverse. That instead of dying and this being consumed, it would be more like you consume it first, and that instills you with additional vigor, and then whenever you lose it, then you get revived on death like a fairy in Zelda. That would make the most sense, considering that supposedly life is originating from the Earth Tree. It doesn't absorb death, necessarily. Because it's not absorbing your soul, because you're still there. Anyways.
Cheers for that.
Good deal. Okay. I'll be back. Please don't leave this time. Patches, please don't teleport across the map in a way that I don't understand. I have enough problems as it is. And there's a Pumpkinhead boss that I would like to get done, but I am not upgraded enough to reliably do that. And I can't even remember where the hell that is. I think it's like right here or something. So instead... Definitely can't do that. This thing... Oh, God. That Crucible Knight, I think his name is? God, what a pain in the ass. I could go through the gate, but I don't want to do that just yet. And I think there's stuff down here. So I guess I'll go over in that direction. And that'll be the last thing that I do for the day. I was trying to get as many things done as I possibly could. And now you guys can see it all happen in real time. Wow. Was it worth it? Do you guys enjoy this more? Watching me arduously go through the area that you probably have completed 8 times yourselves and no longer have any interest in seeing? It's really cool, isn't it? If anyone knows a good place to farm runes, again... I should have gone up top. If anyone knows a good place to farm runes that is in this area, and I doubt that exists, please let me know. Go away, giant. Now, these giants do drop 1,000 runes themselves, but it's very difficult to get rid of them. It just takes forever to kill them. So it's not really worth the bother. There we go. Okay, no, I thought something was up here. Nope, just little penguin guys, even though those are useful. Don't take damage, okay. Maybe it goes over here. No, it was not. Wait. Oh, it's just the ruin fragments. Maybe that's what I was remembering. It'll be nice. Like, if I complete this playthrough somehow... Oh my god, it's gonna be so long. And it's gonna be so long before I'm even allowed to, like... There we go. Ash War Stamp. Another, like, beginning Ash of War, so it's kind of shitty. It's one of these Ashes of War that no one really uses because it's... I like all the shitty Ashes of War that you get at the start of the game. Most of them are just Dark Souls 3 weapon arts. Because all of them that they made for that game are just so awful. Or they serve no practical, like, useful function most of the time. Because they don't normally give you hyper armor, they don't do anything more that's... They don't do, like, an alternate attack that's really useful. It's just like another variant of an ordinary attack most of the time. It's just a waste of FP. Anyways, okay. Stamp, brace armament, and step into low stance to prevent recoil from most enemy attacks. Follow up strong attacks, sweep and strikes. Use most. So nothing. It's just nothing. Nothing there. Nothing there. Although you might wonder, what's the lore of it being on those scarabs that are invisible and rolling around in a pattern? I don't know. I don't know. I can't even begin to try to make sense out of that. Why they're on... What scarabs are, I don't know. They're little bitty... They're scarabs, they're little bitty bugs that roll things up in a ball and run around. So maybe they have rolled the ash up in a ball. Like someone died and they found it and they're using it. There we go. It's more important to land that second hit than it is the first hit. Aha! I love doing that. It's so much fun launching them in the air. It's pretty awkward to do, though. And he was eating a strip of white flesh. By the way, that guy, you may have not noticed, but he was over here, like, huddled over, sitting down and shivering. And he was completely alone. And there is, like, a broken up, like, shitty boat right here. Whether or not he, like, beached on the shore is unclear. Either this used to be his boat, or it looks too old and shitty. I sincerely doubt it, but it's possible that's the narrative that they were going for. I have no idea. By the way, yeah, he was camping out here. Next to... next to this gentleman. This very, very lanky looking guy. These guys, I don't know what they are. They look like the things that you run into when you get to Stormvale, and they're described as being commoners. Why they're described as being commoners, I don't know. I have a commoner piece of clothing, but it's so generic it doesn't say anything. But yeah, he was just hanging out. Maybe he killed that guy. Maybe he did. I don't know. It's hard to tell since there's so many bloodstains around here already. There is, like, this one looks hand-placed. So I guess he, like, killed him and then dragged the body over here. Why he was shivering, I don't know. But the point I was going for is that I would have felt bad about a shivering man and left him alone. But enemies in Elden Ring just want you to die. They really crave your death. And since they are so intent on being assholes, then I am very inclined to help release them of their agony of existing. Now, hopefully in the next episode, I will try my best to go absolutely nowhere near anything. Because I don't want to involuntarily make progress that you guys won't see on this particular thing. I will treat what has happened up until now in the LP as me showing you how I normally would play the game and what is possible in the game. Because that was the point. Like, you can really just rip right through the game if you want to. It's not Breath of the Wild where you can go straight to Ganon, but you can really make a lot of progress very quickly and ruin parts of the game for yourself in the process. Haha! One of the things that, this is out of nowhere, I guess. One of the things that it is actually in the Art of War, Sun Tzu's Art of War. Wait, no, it's not in that. I think I'm thinking of... What's his name? Muramashi? I can't remember what his name is. Hold on.
It hurts.
He got his ass beat. Alright, come on. That just goes on for like the next 50 minutes. Like, sure, he might be dying, whatever, but still, it's very inconvenient for me. I know. Oh, fuck. Oh, it's like a guy that, like, hit his knee. Or, like, turned his ankle a little bit. Oh, gosh. I guess the reason why they don't like him is because he wears little hats and he sews clothing. Or his mother used to sew clothing, at least. Your mother used to sew clothing. Let's beat his ass, guys. No, please. I do so love you. Let me give you a gentle kiss upon the forehead. I gotta stop being weird. Oh, it's being so weird. Anyways, there was some, like, ancient Japanese duelist or something who wrote, it's called a book, but it's like a few pages at best. Like, it's probably like 1,500 words. Books were not all they were cracked up to be back then. But he details the method that he used in duels to fight people. And it wasn't really that complicated. Like, it didn't really go into that much detail. But some of the things that he described were... His favorite technique was riding his blade down the blade of his enemy. Like, sort of parrying it and lowering it to the ground, digging it into the dirt so it was moved away from him. And then riding his own blade up into their arm or into their chest, since they couldn't use their own blade to defend themselves at that point. Another thing that he mentions is that at times he was forced to fight groups of enemies, and his method of handling that would be to rotate to one side because it forces them to file into a line, and it prevents them from actually attacking you, which is historically also used in like soldier regiments as well. If you are fighting against a group of enemies, just rotating to one side will cause them to involuntarily be forced into file into a line, as long as you're keeping your distance. And you can do that in video games too. Now let's hurry and get him out of the way, so he'll shut up.
What are you doing?
Oh, did you hear me? I'm sorry, didn't mean to inconvenience you.
They'll rush in and beat you to a pulp. You'll end up just like me.
Maybe, but I'll be wearing pants.
Oh. What are you doing here? You must leave this.
Rush when you'll beat your butthole right open, they will. Okay. So, I will not be doing that right now. I really would like to level up first, because, I don't even have the ability to upgrade my summons or anything. Like, I haven't even been to the round table. Okay. There we are. It is unlocked. Should I enter there? No, I would like to get over here first. Although, getting down there is going to be a pain in the butt. Let me just start from... No, not that one, not that one. This one. I'm going to rush over to there, and that'll be the last thing that I do for the day. Otherwise, this is going to be a 4-hour-long LP part. They just keep getting worse, don't they? But this is exactly why... Like, whenever I record these, they don't feel that long. Like, whenever I first start talking, I'll look down and I'll see, oh, 20 minutes. Well, there's my opening. Great. A 20-minute long opening. Good job, me. Very cool. And I'll get irritated with myself for doing it. But I said the things that I needed to say, and this is how it worked. And, same deal with, like an hour or so in. I'll look down and be like, it's already been an hour, but I've barely done anything. And especially the same thing goes for 2 hours. I'll look down and be like, oh, 2 hours. I guess I've been going for what feels like about 40 minutes. And now 3 hours. I feel like I've been recording for about 1 hour. It's kind of ridiculous. Okay. I can't even remember which one this is or what it rewards. But I'll map it out, grab this, and I will not be doing this one just yet, I guess. I guess I'll end it here. Because I would like your guys' feedback on various things. Again, the things that I would like you guys to comment on in this particular video, and this is sort of a... This is part 5. This is a big changing of the guard in regards to how I'm handling the playthrough. Whoa, that's weird. Because I tried at the last second to look over to see if I missed anything on that side. Comment on your thoughts on what your regrets were, if you're far into the game, as far as leveling up goes. What were your regrets? Most of the time people say that they wish they had leveled up Vigor more, or they have found that they're doing no damage. Most of the regrets seem to be people saying that I put too many stat points into too many things. Which I was assured was not a thing in this game, but 100% it is. It is a huge thing. Other thing, recommendations on... I'm not going to level Faith right now because I have no use of it for the time being. Should I go Strength Faith or should I go Dexterity Faith? That's kind of important. Also, is there a place to farm runes in the starting area? I don't think there is. If there is, please let me know. Because I need them in order to buy all this crap. Also, the undead merchant problem. The most effective way of handling them is to just kill them as soon as you see them. Grab their bearings and then turn them into the main merchant that you have back at your base. Is there a better way of handling that? And for those that have completed the game, is there any consequence whatsoever to doing it? I don't need the particulars of what happens to them, just is there a consequence? If there isn't, we're going to be murdering those fucks as soon as we see them. Which I don't want to do, but that'll be the best way of handling it, unfortunately. What will become of the little donkey guys? I don't know. I don't fucking know. Also, I guess you can also tell me whether or not you want me to bother going down all the catacombs and stuff. I probably should, because some of them, sometimes, in very rare cases, do have lore associated with them, which is so irritating. I guess I'll do those too. I don't know. Just this LP will take 1 million years. It'll just take 1 million years. Okay. Well, anyways, just like that. We'll power through it somehow. So, anyways, hope you guys have had a lovely time this particular part. I'm having a little bit more fun than I did the last part. The last part was just such a mess because it had gotten completely out of hand. But this is the only way to do it. This is the only way that I know how to do it. I need to level up one stat to be able to get to the point where I actually have enough damage to be able to deal with enemies consistently. So, one of the first things I'm going to need, especially you can see them down here. Is the game crashing? I think the game's actually crashing. I think the game crashed. I shouldn't have done that. Anyways, if the game crashed, which yes, it looks like it did, considering that Bandicam is also frozen. Anyways, I guess I'll stop the recording there. Okay, alright, I successfully stopped it. Did it actually process? It didn't process. Did I just lose all the footage? Eli from the future here. I did manage to finally recover the file. It took quite a while and quite some doing to do, though. The thing that I was trying to say, if I remember correctly, was that the enemies that were in that particular cave, and in several caves for that matter, require almost strike damage from a weapon. So I need to have a strike weapon, which will either be a flail if I'm going dexterity, which means investing a lot into dex very early, or it will be kind of whatever if I'm going strength. So anyways, point being, recovered the thing. Hope you enjoyed this incredibly boring and frustrating LP part. I'm going to go cry. No, I'm going to do something else now. Bye-bye, everyone. See you next time.